Chapter 81. The wild gorilla's figure stopped in midair, and slowly floated into the city of time under the guidance of the spiritual power of the alien god. Holy Lord, I brought him. Li Yan, who was sitting in the city lord's seat, nodded and looked at the most reckless warrior king of the Beast clan. Although he looks ugly, the Decepticons and Autobots in the Transformers world are not much prettier than him. I have become uglier and stronger. When facing the alien gods, the wild gorilla is very weak, but Li Yan estimates that all the Decepticons and Autobots in the Transformers world combined are not enough for him to fight alone. At least he has powerful skills. After the quality improving education just now, the wild orangutan has become much more sensible. He has lost the aura of a social big brother and behaves like a child. I ask you questions, do you understand? Li Yan said lightly. The wild orangutan nodded honestly. What is the population of your territory, Wild City? How many troops are there? The total population is 100 million and the army is 20. The wild orangutan answered. Well, I'm satisfied. Now you can pledge your allegiance to me. Okay. Wild Orang was a little confused. He thought Li Yan was from the motorcycle race, right? How could we, the Beast tribe, surrender like the motorcycle tribe? Human Torch, Hot Wheels and other motorcycle riders were also silent, not knowing Li Yan's purpose of subduing the wild ape. Hot Wheels thought to himself, Wild Ape, you must be tougher. You can say harsh things as you like, but you don't have to give me Hot Wheels face. If you don't die today and show your determination, I, Hot Wheels, will look down on you. Can I ask you, why do you want us to surrender? The wild orangutan asked tentatively. Haha, it doesn't hurt to tell you, because of some reasons you can't understand. Without this reason, you would be a pile of scrap metal now. The wild orangutan was silent after hearing this. Although this is true, if you say it more tactfully, wouldn't it look good on everyone's face? Don't look at me kneeling straight now, but my heart is standing. Lamented. If you want to survive, you have to bow your head to the truth. I, the wild gorilla, am willing to be loyal to you and become your follower. Hey, we detected that you have a new follower. Hey, this follower belongs to mechanical life. You can't use some of its abilities. Make adjustments now. Hey, you have gained new abilities, skill, Crazy Thunder Vajra Fist, skill, Mountain Opening Vajra Palm. Well, that's it. Glancing at the wild orangutan kneeling on the ground, Li Yan said lightly, get up. Yes, Holy Master. Li Yan does not intend to treat the wild orang poorly. Although the wild orang is not very useful, as long as he conquers the entire world of Machine War King, Li Yan will have at least 200 million mechanical soldiers. Although they cannot fight, they are all capable of fighting. A good brick mover. Li Yan took out the rabbit charm representing speed and gave it to the wild orangutan. It can give you unparalleled speed. I hope you perform well and don't let me down. After subduing the wild orang, the wild city is now in hand, and it's time to gather the other biker warriors together. The current world of the Machine War King is still peaceful, and the 6 generals of the motorcycle clan have not yet grown up, but now there is a person who is also a time traveler like Li Yan, that is the Machine War King of the Beast clan, but her attitude towards Li Yan the threat was infinitely close to negative, and she felt like a loach in a puddle, it couldn't make much waves. The wild gorilla walked out of the city of time with the golden iron beast. The army of black iron beasts outside had been waiting for a long time. The wild orangutan called all his capable men together and told everyone that he had completely surrendered to Li Yan. Now he was Li Yan's follower, and all the black iron beasts would serve Li Yan in the future. Wild City. The Tiger King led an army of people and was already approaching the city. General Silver Iron Beast, let's quickly send someone to rule the marshal. Silver Iron Beast said righteously. The marshal is attacking the city of time with all his strength. We must not distract the marshal. Besides, our wild city is indestructible. It is absolutely impossible for the Tiger King to capture it. Wait, when the marshal returns, we will attack from both sides and eliminate the Tiger King in one fell swoop. Everyone nodded, thinking that what Silver Iron Beast said made sense. But some people still feel that this matter is inappropriate. Wild City is under attack. Why not notify the marshal of such a big thing? There's obviously something fishy going on. The army of black iron beasts led by Wild Ape in the middle of the night is stationed outside the City of Time. According to Li Yan's order, they will return to Wild City early tomorrow morning to actively train their troops and wait for Li Yan's next order. At this time, the golden iron beast anxiously found the wild orangutan. What's wrong? What's wrong so late? Marshal, something bad has happened. The wild city was attacked by the Tiger King. They secretly sneaked into the city for some unknown reason. Now the wild city has been lost. What? The wild orangutan was startled, and then he quickly asked, where did this news come from? Why didn't we receive a request for help? Gold Iron Beast. It was reported by a few soldiers who escaped. Silver Iron Beast had been suppressing it before, not letting anyone go out to ask for help. We didn't know the news. The wild gorilla punched the table. Now he was very angry. 50,000 black iron beasts were guarding the city. It would not be so easy for the Tiger King to capture it. There must be someone here who cheated and acted as the Tiger King's insider. The wild orangutan did not dare to disturb Li Yan at night. Although he was anxious, he could only wait until the next morning to ask Li Yan for instructions. Li Yan was surprised when he heard the news, but he knew that there was a traitor lurking next to wild orangutan. The wild orangutan wanted Li Yan's permission to lead his troops back to defeat the Tiger King and take back the wild city. Li Yan's eyes turned and he had an idea. Since the Tiger King comes to the door first, let's deal with the Tiger King first. Besides, there is a blue poisonous beast under the Tiger King waiting for Li Yan to take his life. After organizing the army, Li Yan drove the Thunderbolt and followed the wild orangutan team. In order to defeat the Tiger King faster, Li Yan planned to let Boros take action directly this time, so that Li Yan would not be far away from unifying the world. At this time, the Tiger King was very proud, and he got the wild city without much effort. That wild ape guy will be furious if he finds out, ha ha ha. Ha ha, the marshal is so clever and clever. His wild orangutan is no match for the marshal. The blue poison beast made a rainbow fart and slapped the Tiger King comfortably. The silver iron beast also complimented on the side. The Tiger King marshal is still mighty, and his wild ape is not worth mentioning at all. You don't know that the men of the wild ape are all trash. He led an army of black iron beasts to attack the Palace of Time. The city itself was captured by others. The Tiger King smiled slightly and said to the silver iron beast, "You have done a good job, I will not treat you badly. Thank you, Marshal, for your cultivation. I am willing to go through fire and water for you," Silver Iron Beast said with excitement. The blue poison beast glanced at the silver iron beast, his eyes full of disdain. Those who seek glory behind their backs will not end well in the end, except of course me, the blue poison beast. The wild gorilla and the golden iron beast led an army of 15 black iron beasts and finally returned to their hometown after a very fast attack. The Tiger King stood on the city wall, looking at the returning wild orangutan, and sighed secretly. Time was tight and he did not have time to set up a trap, otherwise this stupid orangutan would definitely fall into the trap. Wild orangutan, how are you? The attack on the City of Time went well. By the way, has the golden iron beast been rescued? The Tiger King taunted while standing on the city wall. The wild orangutan was so angry that he wanted to smash the Tiger King to pieces with one punch. Tiger King, don't be too complacent. I'll attack the city wall soon and I will cut you into pieces. Ha ha ha, I'm so scared. Come, let me introduce you to a new general who has taken refuge with me. His name is Silver Iron Beast. He originally followed a fool, but now he has abandoned the secret and defected to my disciples. This move of the Tiger King is for to stimulate the wild orangutan. The feeling of being betrayed is not pleasant at all. The wild orangutan gnashed its teeth, eager to eat the silver iron beast alive. As expected, you are the traitor. If you dare to betray me, Silver Iron Beast, I will kill you without a burial place. Wild Orang roared. The current wild orangutan hates these two despicable villains very much. They can't fight head-on, but they actually play dirty tricks. The Silver Iron Beast has completely lost his temper now, and has nothing to worry about anymore. You stupid gorilla, you have a simple mind and strong limbs. It's not yet known who will live and who will die today. The wild orangutan, who was already very angry, completely exploded when he heard the arrogant words of the traitor Silver Iron Beast. The wild orangutan roared and ordered the Black Iron Beast army to start attacking the city. Apocalypse slowly walked out from behind the troops. Leave the Tiger King to me. Wild Orang had no objection when he heard it. Although he also wanted to do it himself, he clearly knew the strength of Apocalypse and secretly thought that the Tiger King would suffer now. He deserved it. The Tiger King looked at the 15-strong army led by the wild gorilla below without any panic. Even though he only had 100,000 Black Panther beast army here, it was enough to defend the city. Without the help of the Silver Iron Beast, he would have lost 100,000 black beasts. Even the Leopard Beast army may not be able to capture the wild city guarded by 5 people. Quote, Lord Tianchi, he is in the city, should we break down the city gate first? Tianchi chuckled and said, no, he's the same everywhere. After saying that, Tianchi jumped up, and his strong physical fitness allowed him to jump up the 400-meter-high city wall. The Tiger King was also shocked when he saw Apocalypse jumping up from below. Who are you? I remember that there is no one like you among the wild gorillas. The Tiger King wondered. My name is Tianchi, and I'm here to teach you a lesson on the orders of the Holy Lord. Ha ha ha, the person who taught me a lesson hasn't even been born yet. He thought Apocalypse was a subordinate of the wild orangutan, and immediately joined him. You have no future following the wild orangutan. If you follow me, you will be the master of this wild city. Yes, how is it? Tianchi sneered and said, okay, but you should die first. Apocalypse took the lead and started to attack. He clenched his hand into a fist and punched the Tiger King on the cheek. The Tiger King was staggered. The Tiger King, who stood firm, was very angry. He was actually slapped in the face. You are looking for death, or the storm star cloud split will happen. The furious Tiger King opened up his weapon. He waved his extremely sharp tiger claws and attacked Tianchi. Apocalypse stood there and turned on the energy shield. No matter how hard the Tiger King scratched and slashed, he could not break through the shield. The blue poisonous beast stepped forward to dissuade him. Marshal, you need to calm down. We are now ordering all the soldiers to focus their fire attacks. We will definitely be able to break his turtle shell. Tiger King. Okay, the Black Panther obeys my order and turns its gun to attack me. Yes, Marshal. All the Black Panther beasts began to attack Apocalypse with weapons, but such an attack did not pose any threat to Apocalypse. Not to mention having an energy shield, even without this energy shield, Apocalypse would not be injured. Apocalypse removed the shield and ducked in front of the Tiger King. The difference in size made Apocalypse more flexible. Apocalypse kicked the Tiger King in the leg socket, and the Tiger King fell to his knees. Then the Tiger King faced it was a fist like a violent storm. Although Apocalypse did not use too much force, it still hit the Tiger King hard. The wild orang was extremely happy when he saw the miserable state of the Tiger King, as if he had defeated the Tiger King himself. Apocalypse flew down from the city wall with the Tiger King. Although the Black Panther beast army was anxious, there was nothing they could do. The green leopard beast and the purple leopard beast stopped in front of Apocalypse. Let go of our marshal. Oh, I didn't expect you to have such loyal subordinates. Green leopard, purple leopard, you two stand down first. If he doesn't kill me, it proves that I still have value. Wait here for me to come back. Although the Tiger King was seriously injured, his IQ was still online. The Tiger King knelt in front of Li Yan. He looked at Li Yan and the motorcycle man beside him. He was a little surprised for a moment. What was going on with this wild gorilla? Could it be that he had taken refuge with the motorcycle man? Li Yan, whether the Tiger King lives or dies is in your own hands. The Tiger King looked at the wild orangutan and finally understood that this guy must have been stopped by Li Yan and others when he attacked the City of Time. In the end, the wild orangutan had no choice but to. But he surrendered, so what am I afraid of? Ah. The wild orangutan looked at the Tiger King and hesitated a little, then he opened his mouth and said, Holy Lord, I think he is stubborn and difficult to subdue, so why don't I take action and kill him? After hearing what the wild gorilla said, the Tiger King was also furious. He thought to himself, you are such a gorilla, but I didn't expect that you have learned bad things and want to trick me. Huh, no way. My subordinate Tiger King is willing to surrender to you. Hey, I noticed you got a new follower. Hey, this follower belongs to Mechanical Life. You can't use some of its abilities. Make adjustments now. Hey, you have gained new abilities, skill, Storm Star Cloud Split, skill, Tiger Claw. I previously obtained a boxing skill and a palm strike skill from the wild ape, and now I have obtained 2 claw strike skills. It seems that these 3 beasts and mecha kings can only give me some boxing and kicking skills. Half of the entire beast clan has been in Li Yan's hands, and the only person left in the world who is reasonably powerful is the Tyrannosaurus god. But Li Yan was not in a hurry. He ordered the Tiger King to withdraw his troops, return the wild city to the wild orangutans, and then organize the army. Li Yan was going to hold a grand Hongmen banquet. There are very few things in this world worthy of Li Yan's planning, not a few at all, but the energy amethyst is something that Li Yan must obtain. In addition to the mission requirements, this is also a very special kind of energy crystal in this world. Energy amethyst can quickly restore its own energy and health. It is an important strategic material in the world of Machine War King. Sometimes it even has the ability to turn defeat into victory. Li Yan is curious. I wonder if the mechanical life in other worlds can be used. Now, Li Yan already has control of 3 cities, as well as 2 war kings from the Beast clan and a general from the Motorcycle clan. He is very close to the goal of unifying the world. Li Yan and Human Torch were driving on the endless yellow-brown land. Human Torch's rapidly rotating wheels rolled up a burst of smoke. The unchanging scenery around them made people look boring. In this case, no matter how strong the push and roar were, the sound can't make people excited. Human Torch, how long does it take to get to Energy City? Li Yan asked, bored. City Lord, we are almost there. We won't be there in another 2 hours. Okay, I'll be squinting for a while. Call me when you get there. Li Yan swore in his heart that next time he would teleport directly anywhere. Why should he suffer this? From a distance, the city of Source looks like a huge defense tower. It is the city with the highest defense for the motorcycle race. There are some flying saucer-like discs around it that can move and rise. They usually rotate around the city of energy. There is a place where you can attack from above. Shooting downward from the disc can be said to take advantage of the air. Moreover, a central missile system is installed in the city, which can automatically locate and attack enemies. Therefore, as long as the city defense token is still in the hands of the city lord, the Beast clan cannot invade. Energy City is the territory of a group of helicopter-type motorcycle people, and it is also the hometown of Tornado, the general of the motorcycle tribe. Here is the powerful old city lord Lightning. On the way, Li Yan chatted with Pilahuo, and he told Pilahuo about the grievances between Energy City and Snowstorm City. More than 100 years ago, there was no Fengshe City. Fengshe and Lightning were still good brothers in life and death. Together they guarded the energy amethyst of the Energy City. How come I haven't heard of Feng Shui? Pilahuo wondered. Don't interrupt. If I hadn't told you, your strength would still be hanging around in the City of Time. A thunderbolt, piercing the old heart. Li Yan continued. One day, the old city lord wanted to choose one of them to become the next city lord, so he gave them 2 city defense tokens from the Energy City. These 2 city defense tokens, it is the Lightning token and the Snow token, allowing the 2 of them to dispatch the army of Energy City to attack the Blue Poison Beast's base camp. Whoever captures the Blue Poison Beast's base camp first will be the next city lord. The Blue Poison Beast's troops will be defeated. The armies of Lightning and Wind and Snow were defeated and retreated steadily. The treacherous and cunning Tyrannosaurus god let the Blue Poison Beast take advantage of the fact that only the old city master was left in the Energy City, and took the opportunity to kidnap the old city master, and threatened Lightning with the old city master's life to withdraw his troops. Lightning had to agree, but because of Feng Shui's impatient personality, Lightning did not tell him the news, making him mistakenly believe that Lightning would not hesitate to collude with the Blue Poison Beast for the position of City Lord, so Feng Shui left angrily and established the Snow City in an extremely cold place thousands of miles away. After the Blue Poison Beast's alienation plan was successful, the Tyrannosaurus Dragon God and the Blue Poison Beast did not fulfill their promise, but killed the old City Lord, making the misunderstanding on this matter never clear up. When Feng Shui heard that the old City Lord was dead, he came to Lightning to settle the score. Lightning wanted to die to eliminate Feng Shui's resentment towards him, but Feng Shui couldn't bear to attack Lightning. From now on, the City of Energy is a forbidden land for fighter jets, and the City of Snow is a forbidden land for helicopters. Thunderbolt was very angry after hearing this. The hateful beast tribe, if you can't defeat them openly, you will use dirty tricks. Li Yan chuckled and asked, the overall strength of your motorcycle tribe is stronger than that of the beast tribe, but you have various political affairs and no unified leadership. Even if you are powerful, you are still loose cotton, not tight and strong steel. Thunderbolt knew what Li Yan meant. The motorcycle tribe didn't know how to stick together for warmth and didn't cooperate sincerely. Otherwise, the 3 war kings of the beast tribe would dare to be so arrogant. Energy City. The current city Lord Lightning is one of the strongest members of the motorcycle clan. Although his strength is somewhat different from the 3 war kings of the beast clan, Lightning's strength ranks among the top 5 in the entire world of machine war kings. General Tornado. Well, is the city lord inside? Exist. Tornado walked in, and he got information that the city of Time was attacked by wild apes, and it was probably in danger. Master, my disciple got news that the wild apes' army of 100,000 black iron beasts is attacking the city of Time. My disciple thought that the city of Time might be. The Lord of Lightning City was silent after hearing this. He had heard a little bit about the strength of the city of Time, and he had no chance of winning against a strong man like Wild Orang. Hey, when will the motorcycle tribe be able to unite? Master, do you want us to send out scouts to inquire about the situation in the city of Time? Go. If you see any motorcycle riders escaping from the city of Time, bring them back. Energy City will always be safe. Report, a motorcycle man named Thunderbolt came outside the city lord. He said he was from the city of Time. Oh, did it fall so quickly? Tornado was surprised. Let him come in. The city of Time seems to have been lost. Soon, Human Torch and Li Yan were brought into the city of Energy, which was full of technology and pleasing to the eye. The guards were all elites, much better than the old, weak, sick and disabled in the city of Time. The Lord of Lightning City asked, you two are the only ones who escaped from the city of Time. What do you mean? Why am I confused? Don't be too sad, this will be your home from now on. Tornado comforted him. The Human Torch was even more confused when he heard this. Are the people in Energy City so hospitable? What are you talking about? Why didn't I understand? Tornado arrived. The city of Time is in crisis, and we should have sent troops to support it, but Energy City has limited troops. Once we go out to provide support, it is likely that Energy City will also be in crisis. Only then did the Human Torch realize that the other party thought that the wild ape had defeated the city of Time, and the two of them had escaped with their lives. Human Torch, I think you may have misunderstood. The wild ape has been defeated by our Machine War King. I came here with the Machine War King this time. What did you say? Lightning City Lord asked in surprise. Tornado, I just seemed to hear you say the words, King of Machine War. That's right, it's the King of Machine War. Human Torch glanced at Li Yan secretly, and said to himself, I don't know if it's a chance or not, but he is really the King of War. The Lord of Lightning City looked at Li Yan and became even more confused. This was indeed not, chick, enough. Why do you say he is the King of Machine War? You must know that the King of Machine War only appeared in the ancient wars. No one has seen the King of Machine War in this era. Li Yan, let me tell you why. I alone can destroy your entire Energy City. Tornado, who doesn't know how to talk big words? Why don't you say that the Wild Gorilla and the Tiger King are your little brothers? You guessed this right, I'm afraid your mouth has been opened to the public. The Human Torch thought to himself. Haha, you were really right, they are indeed my little brothers now. Tornado glanced at the Human Torch, as if asking if he had forgotten to take his medicine before going out. Although Human Torch knew that everything Li Yan said was true, he couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable being stared at like this. Lightning City Lord. Okay, if you are the King of Machine War, please come up with some convincing evidence, otherwise just retreat first, the tornado will take care of you. Li Yan shook his head and smiled. Sure enough, the old city lord had a lot of experience and could not trust him with just a few words. After seeing it, it was time to show his true strength. Li Yan waved his hand and opened the portal, which led to Poseidon in the world of the Shadow Kingdom. Li Yan summoned the 3 generals of the warring states Zephyr Navy and others, and brought 50 elite naval officers. Li Yan, this is one of my countless troops. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. It doesn't matter whether I am the king of machine warfare or not. I only have one goal now, which is to unify the world. Who is for it and who is against it? Lightning, Tornado and others were at a loss when they saw the sudden appearance of 10 human soldiers. They had never heard of this ability to open a door out of thin air, let alone seen it with their own eyes. But they don't know what the opponent's strength is, so they don't dare to act rashly. Warring States, Zephyr and the 3 Navy generals looked at the group of mechanical lifeforms in front of them and were very curious for a while. Zephyr asked in a low voice, "Holy Lord, do you want to smash these monsters in front of you?" "No, they should be considered your friendly forces from now on." The Lord of Lightning City thought for a moment and said, "The city of energy was built brick by my master and countless ancestors from generation to generation. Its existence is not an ordinary city, but the hard work and belief of the entire motorcycle race. I am willing to protect it with my life." Li Yan waved his hand and interrupted the Lightning City Lord's affectionate speech. "It's a place where birds don't poop, bah. I am jealous of the bodies of you motorcycle guys. Who cares about your shabby city? I may not have made it clear that I don't want to use force to unify the world, but force is indeed the best way." Tornado felt a little uncomfortable after hearing this, but when he saw his master's face was calm and unruffled, he didn't have an attack. After weighing the pros and cons, the Lord of Lightning City made up his mind. "We are willing to agree to your conditions, but you must ensure the interests and safety of our motorcycle community. Those who know the current affairs are heroes. Look at this, everyone will be happy. Don't worry, I, Li Yan, have always been fair and impartial. Besides, I don't have the ability of Japanese referees to confuse right and wrong." After listening to Li Yan's words, the Lord of Lightning City handed over the city defense token of Energy City to Li Yan and stepped down as the Lord of the city. Now that the Energy City has been obtained, Tyrannosaurus God City of the Undead, City of Snow and Moon Temple are still needed. In the original work, Vanguard, the general of the Moon Temple, provoked the Tiger King because of his arrogance, and the Tiger King led a large army of Black Panther beasts to attack. The old city lord of the Temple of the Moon, the master of Vanguard, died by detonating the energy hidden in his back to cover the retreat of Vanguard. As for Fengshe City, now their city lord Fengshe is dead, and the remaining people are 3 or 2 big cats and kittens. In addition to supersonic speed, they have some strength, but their overall strength may not be as good as that of Time City. The city of the undead is the territory of Tyrannosaurus, the strongest mecha king. The ice wolf beasts under his command are also stronger than the wild orangutans and the soldiers under the Tiger King. Moreover, his city is very deep, and the blue poisonous beast is the one he sent to the Tiger King. Undercover. As long as these 3 places are taken care of, the entire Mecha King world will be mine. Stopping his obscenity, Li Yan began to make preparations. He planned to have a quick victory. Now Li Yan ordered Huang Yuan to lead troops to the capital of the dead to bring back the educated Tyrannosaurus god, and let Tornado lead the way. Qing Pheasant then led his troops to the snowy city. The weather there was freezing, so it was perfect for Qing Pheasant to go. Akainu, on the other hand, went to the Moon Temple. Although it was not very important, it was also a basic requirement for Li Yan to complete his mission. Kizarutobi stood next to Tornado, with a mean and lewd smile on his face. "Hey, brother, you can actually turn into a helicopter. It's really awesome." Tornado glanced at him. He was so proud of his speed that this wretched uncle could catch up with him. Tornado, "Uncle, you are also very powerful. My name is Tornado. I am the #1 general in Energy City. Please take good care of me in the future. Hey, young people are very polite. My name is Porosalino, codename is Kizaru, and I am one of the current Navy admirals. If you need anything from now on, please contact me." After joining Li Yan, Kizaru and others' dealing styles have undergone considerable changes. Even Akainu has changed from his previous serious image to become amiable and talkative. Tornado chatted happily with Kizaru all the way, while Akainu was dragged by Human Torch to the Temple of the Moon. On the way, Akainu said to Human Torch, "As your senior, little brother, you don't have to understand anything in the future. Ask me, and I, Sam, will definitely tell you everything." Akainu plans to win over the newcomers and use his better understanding of Li Yan to develop a few loyal followers. Human Torch felt that Sakazuki was pretty good through his previous conversation. Now when he heard Akainu say this, he decided to express his doubts. Our Lord Machine War King, who is he? The Aoki pheasant's side was even more interesting. The cold wind roared, and the soldiers who followed him suffered a lot. They were shivering from the cold, and their teeth chattered. The Aoki pheasant's face changed color. It was so cold. Why didn't I feel it? Arrive. Looking at the frozen old man on the ground, the adjutant said, General Qingzi, I can't do it anymore. It's too cold. Let the brothers take a rest. Aoki stopped and used his ability to create a huge igloo in the blink of an eye. Although the igloo was still very cold, it could block the biting cold wind. Without the cold wind, these soldiers instantly felt better. A lot. Okay, you guys wait for me here. After saying that, Qingzi turned around and headed to the Snow Wind City with the Lightning City Lord. The Lord of Lightning City was very depressed, and his sadness and regret could not be expressed in words. This time, Lightning came to lead the way but also wanted to pay homage to his friend. Since that parting, he and Feng Shui have never seen each other again, and never spoke again. If Feng Shui was still alive now, she would even stand up and scold him or beat him. His mood would not be as heavy as this. Qingji asked casually, You seem to have something on your mind. I lost my best friend because of a misunderstanding. I have always wanted to explain everything clearly, but I never have the chance. Lightning told in a low voice. Oh, the Holy Lord has the ability to bring the dead back to life. You can beg him if you have the opportunity in the future. Qing Pheasant said casually, but when the words hit Lightning's ears, it was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue. Really, really? He asked tremblingly. Well, it's true. Why are you shaking? Are you cold too? Akainu thought for a while and decided to give the Human Torch a thorough blow. You ask me, who is your king of machine wars? Let me tell you first. I once had the same confusion as you, but now I can only tell you that the Holy Lord is the omnipotent and almighty God. As long as if you obey his orders and do not violate his will, you will gain supreme power. Remember, it is our honor to follow the Holy Lord. There are no so-called gods in Human Torch's world, nor are there any powerful bosses, so he has no concept of the existence of gods. What is God? I have never heard of or seen God. You can understand it this way, you think gods can do all the impossible things, and no one can do what gods can't do. This is God. Kizaru and Tornado were very fast, leaving the helicopter behind them behind. Brother Huang, the capital of the dead is ahead. What the hell is, Brother Huang? I'm too lazy to explain. This is very yellow. It looks very eerie, so scary. Sensing the outsiders, the city of the undead activated its defense mode. Several ice wolf beasts flew out of the city. They circled in the air to investigate, and only found Kizaru and Tornado. Who are you? What are you doing in our capital of the dead? Tornado, we are here to find the Tyrannosaurus god. You'd better inform us. Who dares to run wild in the city of the undead? With a deep roar, the Tyrannosaurus god appeared above the city of the undead. Looking at the two people opposite him with contempt, he turned his nostrils upward and said arrogantly, Who do I think I am? It turns out to be a brat from the motorcycle clan. As soon as Tornado heard this, he became angry. If Kizaru hadn't held him back, he might have gone up to fight the Tyrannosaurus god. Purple Dragonman looked at Kizaru, secretly thinking that he was the king of machine war of the motorcycle clan. Although he looked like a wretched old man, as the saying goes, you can't judge a person by his appearance, and his bust must be measured by his hand. Who knew if he was wretched and perverted? Woolen cloth. Kizaru chuckled, showing a mean expression, and the wrinkles on his face gathered together, and said, Xiao Longlong, have you ever been kicked by the light? Before he finished speaking, a beam of light knocked the Tyrannosaurus god away. Kizaru's kick was purely for entertainment, and his reputation as a professional waterman was not in vain. The Tyrannosaurus god fell into the city of the undead. This kick caused him to lose half of his health. Now he couldn't help but feel palpitated. He didn't expect that this person was not that good in appearance, but his strength was really tyrannical. The Tyrannosaurus god also became nervous. The opponent was so strong, was he going to lose? No, he couldn't sit still and wait for death. The Tyrannosaurus god ordered the ice wolf beasts to start attacking with all their strength. The opponent only had 2 people, but he had an army of 20 ice wolf beasts. The same thing didn't go well for Akainu. Looking at the stubborn lord of the Temple of the Moon, Akainu's hands turned into lava, and he had the intention of taking action if he even disagreed. These police car units were also prepared for the battle. The vanguard took the lead and stood beside his master to confront Akainu and others. Akainu took out a cigar, lit it with his finger and held it in his mouth. My patience is limited, and I don't have much time left for you. Human Torch wanted to dissuade everyone from talking calmly and not taking action to avoid unnecessary casualties. The main reason was that he was worried that Akainu would suffer if he was alone. Akainu raised his arms and shouted to the sky, "Exploding meteor, this is Akainu's combined skill, which combines the explosive power of the original meteor volcano with the dragon talisman. The power of the falling lava explosion is greatly increased. It's just a small missile, it's easy to destroy a city." His fists turned into huge pieces of lava, and he shot them into the sky. The sky began to turn fiery red under the light of the fiery red lava. When you see the lava that was set into the sky, falling here, then the doomsday, such a scene must be unforgettable. Vanguard and the others stood in the Temple of the Moon, looking at the huge lava chunks falling from the sky. They were all stunned for a moment. This scene that was beyond common sense completely shocked them. Even Thunderbolt was shocked. He thought that Ability God and Boros had already. It's amazing. I didn't expect that Akainu was the boss. What Human Torch didn't know was that Ability God and Boros were not serious at all, otherwise 100 Akainu would not be their opponent. The huge lava hit the ground, bang bang bang, and exploded, bang bang, the moment it hit the ground. The power of the explosion was huge. The splashing magma covered hundreds of meters around, and the hot magma burned the ground. The scattered rocks melted, and then the second, third, and countless others fell, and now a sea of magma was formed. Akainu's move was for deterrence. He did not directly attack the Moon Temple. He aimed at the side of the Moon Temple. The deterrent effect is obvious. Now the old city lord of the Moon Temple has given in, and no longer has the courage to go on. Next to the Temple of the Moon is a field of lava. The high temperature emitted creates a heat wave and hits these robots. These robots are secretly frightened. I am afraid that the lava with such a high temperature will melt a large area if it touches the body, and it will not take a few drops to kill it. Warped. Vanguard was sent out to negotiate by his master. Although Vanguard was young and energetic, he was not stupid. If he lost his temper in front of a strong man like Akainu, it would not be him who would die, but the entire Moon Temple behind him. "Dear strong man, hello, I am the Vanguard of the City Guard of the Moon Temple. Our city lord sent me to pick you up." Akainu smoked a cigar and said with a serious face, "Lead the way." Tornado was obviously very nervous when facing an army of 20 ice wolf beasts. Although these ice wolf beasts were not as fast as him, they could attack in the air. With such a large number, he would be shot down sooner or later. Kizaru smiled slightly, not caring about the number of enemies at all. No matter how many ants there were, they couldn't kill the dragon. "Oh, it's happening so soon. I'm really scared." The Tyrannosaurus god flew up from the city and stood in the middle of the ice wolf army. Now he was very afraid that Kizaru would suddenly kick him. "Brother Tornado, you hide for a while and let me face them." Tornado refused to retreat and left Kizaru here alone. Tornado couldn't do anything to escape from the battlefield. A Mankongan sword, Kizaru took out his weapon and put on the armor made by the Nidawi dwarves. At this moment, he became a little serious. Ching Pheasant and the Lord of Lightning City finally arrived at Snow Wind City, which is now a bit dilapidated, with a sparse population, and no outsiders set foot here all year round. Supersonic is now the city lord of Snow City. He is a warrior with extremely strong combat power and can fly extremely fast in the air, even faster than the Tyrannosaurus god. The attack power is also very strong, second only to Lebodian and Shock Wave. It once defeated the wild orangutan with amazing defense. Supersonic saw the two of them and asked sharply, "Who are you? What are you doing in the Snow City?" The Lord of Lightning City looked at Supersonic and couldn't help but think of his friend. "I am your uncle." "Wah, what, master?" Supersonic was speechless for a moment. He had never met his master, but his master often mentioned it. He was a little overwhelmed when he met Supersonic today. "Are you really my uncle?" he asked doubtfully. The Lord of Lightning City nodded heavily. "Can you take me to Feng Shui's grave to pay my respects?" Sonic put down his weapon, nodded and said, "Follow me." Ching Pheasant and Lightning City Lord followed Supersonic, and the three of them slowly came to the snowy mountains behind the city. This is the cemetery of Snow Wind City, and all the people of Snow Wind City will be buried here. Lightning knelt in front of Feng Shui's grave, caressing his cold tombstone. He remained silent for a long time, his eyes were red, and he just kept staring at the tombstone in front of him without making too many movements. The feeling in his heart was probably no longer felt except by Feng Shui, who once felt the same. People can understand it. Hey, he sighed. The person he felt most sorry for in his life was Feng Shui, but there was no chance to explain and make amends. He always remembered what Ching Pheasant said, the Holy Lord has the ability to bring the dead back to life. But will he help him? Li Yan entered the Fire Dragon Valley with countless shadow soldiers in the City of Energy. He wanted to dig up the energy amethyst to complete the mission. There is a seal in the Fire Dragon Valley. Although I don't know who set it up, it must have a lot to do with Energy City. The key to opening the seal door is the token of Energy City and Snow Wind City. Warring States Zephyr followed Li Yan, acting as Li Yan's guardian. Looking at the gate in front of them, several people were shocked. Li Yan holds the key to the Energy City, but the key to the Snow City is still thousands of miles away in the Snow City, so he has no choice but to use violence to break the door open. Holy Master, let your subordinates try it first. Zephyr took the lead. He wielded his black iron fist and punched the sealed door with all his strength. There was a loud boom, and the entire mountain began to shake under the huge force. Countless gravel rolled down from it, but there were only some slight cracks in the door that sealed the energy amethyst. Several dragon roars came from the door, and Li Yan knew that there were guardians here, 2 immortal dragons, 1 ice and 1 fire. At this time, Zephyr was accumulating strength and planning to strike again. Li Yan quickly stopped him. If this was a punch, it didn't matter whether the door could be opened or not. Don't let the place collapse. Wait, Zephyr, please step back first, and we will look into other methods. Before Li Yan finished speaking, a fire dragon rushed out, passed over the heads of Li Yan and others, stopped briefly in the sky, roared, and flew towards Li Yan and others. Hey, you dare to mess with Tai Sui, you piece of shit, I'll see if I don't tear you down. This stupid dragon seems to have no intelligence. His duty is to guard the Fire Dragon Valley. Maybe it can guard others, but in front of Li Yan, he is just like the pustule on the tail of a mouse, not much pus can hold water. Li Yan casually fired an energy attack and knocked it down, but after a while the guy split into 2 and flew away again vigorously. Li Yan waved his hand to open the portal to the Shadow Kingdom plane and threw it into it. There should be some restrictions on this immortal dragon that prevent it from breaking through the Fire Dragon Valley, but Li Yan is equivalent to sending it to another world. The restrictions and seals here have completely disappeared, which means that it is now free. After the fire dragon disappeared, another roar came from behind the sealed door, and the ice dragon in the Fire Dragon Valley also rushed out. It sprayed a mouthful of ice at Li Yan and the others. Li Yan no longer cared about it and directly opened the teleportation gate and teleported it away. Now Li Yan is starting to study how to open this door. Li Yan can easily pass through the wall, but that makes me want to steal. If we want to come, we should steal it openly. Isn't it a matter of character to be sneaky? Li Yan grasped the crack of the door with both hands and exerted force on both sides. With a squeaking sound and the shaking of the mountain, Li Yan opened the door abruptly. I can even crush planets to explode, but I still can't handle your little hack. Kizaru stood with a sword in his hand, and he had an inexplicable and frightening temperament about him. At this time, the Tyrannosaurus god didn't know why. The dragon was sitting at home, and the brave man was coming from the sky. But I didn't kidnap the princess, I didn't destroy the town, I abide by the law, I don't smoke or drink, I just want to be a dragon that takes advantage of the power of the fisherman, but I still can't escape the fate of being slaughtered, and life as a dragon is so difficult. Kizaru was also thinking. The Holy Lord ordered not to cause large-scale casualties, but this Tyrannosaurus god refused to surrender and fought hard. If we don't teach him a lesson now, these newcomers will not be allowed to shit on us old people in the future. Akainu swaggered into the Moon Temple and met the old city lord of the Moon Temple. The other party kept his attitude very low. Dear strong man, I wonder why you are visiting the Moon Temple. After taking a puff of cigarette and blowing out a smoke ring, Akainu said calmly, it's nothing. Our holy master came to you to discuss important matters and sent me to invite you. The Lord of the Moon Temple. I wonder who your holy master is. When we get there, you'll naturally know. Human Torch and Vanguard looked at each other and liked each other, feeling that they were somehow connected. After the lightning memorial ceremony was over, it was Ching Pheasant's turn to get down to business. The purpose of our visit is to invite you to Energy City to participate in the mutual assistance and friendly exchange meeting between the motorcycle tribe and the beast tribe. What? I don't have a footman, do I? Supersonic felt incredible. The Lord of Lightning City explained at the side, this is the order of the Machine War King. Now that we, the Motorcycle Clan, have the Machine War King, the Beast Clan no longer dares to bully us. Supersonic still hadn't recovered, and he was in an extremely dazed state. The Lord of Lightning City stepped forward, patted him on the shoulder and said sincerely, "Child, times have changed. The two sides are still in a tense confrontation in the capital of the dead. The Tyrannosaurus god neither dares to attack nor retreat. After all, this is his base camp." Tornado asked Kizaru in a low voice, "Are we just looking at each other like this?" Kizaru touched his chin. "Otherwise, if you really beat the opponent to death with 3 strikes, 5 plus 2, then I won't be able to do the job when I go back." The Tyrannosaurus god couldn't hold it in any longer, and he said, "What is the purpose of your coming here?" "It's nothing, I just educated you well. After taking you back to the Energy City, the Tiger King and Wild Orangutan have been waiting for you for a long time." Kizaru continued, "Actually, we have no ill intentions, otherwise you would have been lying down by now. It's over." The Tyrannosaurus god was dubious after hearing this, but as long as he didn't come to take his dog's life, the dragon's life would be fine. Facing Kizaru, the Tyrannosaurus god had no chance of winning. In order to avoid being beaten, he thought it was not impossible to follow him and have a look. If the other party wanted to kill him, he would probably have 2 legs to prevent him from tricking him into going to the Energy City to do it. The lazy Kizaru has taken care of the Tyrannosaurus god, and Akainu is about to set off. Vanguard and his master, the Lord of the Temple of the Moon, walked up to Akainu. "Sir, everything has been arranged and we can set off." With a straight face, Akainu threw away the remaining half of the cigar, got on the Human Torch again, and headed towards the Energy City at high speed. Akainu muttered to himself, "I should be the fastest person to complete the task." Chingzi had a headache. Supersonic now no longer believed the two of them, and drew his weapon and shouted. No matter how good-tempered Chingzi was, he was a little angry now. If the Lord of Lightning City hadn't looked at his junior brother Fengshe, he would have I want to go up and give the Sonics a stick. "Hey, you will know if you come with us and take a look." "HMPH, don't do this. I know you are trying to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Now I advise you to leave quickly, otherwise my air-breaking ice slash will not be merciful." Supersonic, who is like a stubborn donkey, is very stubborn. This let the last trace of Ching Pheasant's patience be exhausted. Ching Pheasant stretched out his palm and opened it wide. With one move of Ice Age, he completely froze the entire Snow Wind City. He walked forward and asked the Lord of Lightning City to hang the supersonic ice sculpture. The two planned to go back to discuss matters. Li Yan opened the door to seal the energy amethyst. They walked in slowly. It was slightly dark inside. There were many energy amethysts piled up in the wide corridor. The further they walked in, the more energy amethysts there were. After refraction of light, these crystals are extremely bright, emitting a purple light. Walking into the innermost hall, countless purple crystals stand. These crystals are of different sizes and shapes. Some are slender and tens of meters high. It was extremely thick. If the female anchor saw it. Well, looking around, a pink crystal was floating in the center of the hall. Li Yan walked up the steps slowly and looked at the pink crystal in front of him. He knew that the Beast Clan's mecha Wang Jingjing was sealed inside, so he put it into the Shadow Kingdom and put it with the sleeping Luo Luo. Li Yan would send it to him later. They go home. Now it's time to get down to business. The miners are in place and summon countless shadow soldiers. This will be the starting point for them to realize their self-worth. Dig out all the energy amethysts here for me. Not even a scrap will be left. After saying that, Li Yan returned to the Energy City with Warring States and Zephyr. Now that the Energy City is almost complete, The first, Motorcycle Clan and Beast Clan Mutual Assistance and Friendly Exchange Meeting, in the World of Machine War King will be held grandly. Li Yan looked at the list of participants repeatedly in his hand to confirm that nothing was missing. Zephyr flattered. Holy Lord, under your wise leadership, this prosperous age will be as you wish. Sensing the crisis, Warring States hurriedly spoke. The Holy Master is a man of great talent. The world of this little Mecha king can be destroyed with a snap of the finger, and the situation that the two clans have been fighting for thousands of years has been solved without any effort. Li Yan was also very happy after hearing this. Although others thought they were flattering, we knew it ourselves. Isn't this the complete truth? Sure enough, a subordinate who tells the truth is a good subordinate. While a few people were chatting, Akainu and Human Torch were the first to return to Energy City. My subordinates pay their respects to the Holy Lord. I have brought them back according to your instructions. Very good, Akainu did a good job. He completed the task so quickly. Come, please arrange for the Lord of the Moon Temple and the Vanguard to be seated first. Akainu stepped aside and waited quietly for the next person to come back. He thought to himself that it should be Aokiji. After all, Kizaru is lazy and not very reliable. Although he has restrained himself now, dogs can't change their habit of eating shit. This guy might the old habit happened again, I don't know if I'm still fishing. Today Akainu had wronged Kizaru. Not only did he not fish, but he also completed the task. He moved quickly with Tyrannosaurus and Tornado and returned to Energy City at an extremely fast speed. As soon as he entered the main hall, the Tyrannosaurus god attracted a lot of attention. The Tiger King and the Wild Orang were all looking at him. The City Lord and Vanguard of the Moon Temple of the Motorcycle Clan, the Old City Lord of the City of Time, and the Thunderbolt were all looking at him. The Tyrannosaurus god thought to himself, it seems that what the tornado said is true. Kizaru. Holy Lord, I'm back. I've brought back the Tyrannosaurus god. Although this guy resisted vigorously and mobilized hundreds of thousands of troops to besiege me, I didn't dare to take even a step back even if I was alone. I dare not forget your instructions. Li Yan waved his hand and signaled Kizaru to go down and rest. Even hundreds of thousands of Tyrannosaurus gods couldn't defeat Kizaru. Hundreds of thousands of ice wolves were nothing. Are all of these people so involved? Li Yan complained in his heart. After pondering for a while, he figured out what was going on. These guys didn't usually have many opportunities to show off, and had no chance to show their faces in front of him, but these guys were still counting on his rewards to continue to grow stronger. Oh, it turns out that the problem is that there is no clear reward, punishment and contribution system. After reading it again, I have to study it carefully when I have time. Qingzi arrived belatedly with an ice sculpture. As soon as he entered the hall, he attracted everyone's attention. After all, everyone was waiting for him. Li Yan looked at Supersonic, who was frozen into an ice sculpture, and asked Qing Pheasant, what's going on? How did you turn him into this? Qingji smiled bitterly, feeling extremely depressed. He finally came out and showed off his face, but he didn't expect to meet a stubborn donkey. Reporting to the Holy Lord, this guy has a bad temper and a stubborn personality. No matter how much I tried to persuade him, he just wouldn't get in. My subordinates had no choice but to kidnap him back. I see, this guy is so ignorant that there is no need to exist anymore. Someone drags him down and throws him into the furnace. Li Yan said lightly. Wait a minute. The Lord of Lightning City walked forward quickly and knelt on the ground. Holy Lord, Supersonic has a stupid brain. Don't be the same as him. I promise to educate him well. I hope you will leave him a small child. Fate, if he dares to make a mistake, you will punish me as well. Under the protection of the Lord of Lightning City, Supersonic saved a small life, and everyone else also calmed down and sat quietly in the venue, waiting for Li Yan's instructions. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Li Yan directly ordered the door to be closed, and asked the three generals of warring states and Zephyr to lead heavy troops to maintain order at the venue. Anyone who dared to disrupt order, whether inside or outside the venue, would be killed directly without being beaten. That's it. The interior of the venue was very grandly decorated, and not a single banner that should be posted or hung was left. Li Yan very formally announced the start of the meeting, and personally announced important news that would determine the future of the world of Machine War King. Thanks to everyone's efforts, the world of the King of Machine Wars has finally restored peace. The motorcycle tribe and the beast tribe have reunited and become very close and friendly. But I think this is only temporary. If we want long-term peace between the two races, we only need to it can fundamentally solve the problem. Although it is easy for me to solve the fundamental problem, for the sake of your future stability and peace, I have decided to immigrate all of you. Everything else is nonsense, and Li Yan wants to say the last sentence the most. The Tyrannosaurus god looked at the Tiger King and asked in a low voice, "Are you talking about us again? Why does it feel a little inappropriate?" Tiger King, "What the Holy Lord says is whatever it is. That's not what we do, but that's what we must do." The wild orangutan also came to chat secretly. "What does immigration mean? Does it mean that we need to move? But where can we move?" The bikers were relatively calm, but their hearts were full of doubts. Li Yan continued, "You may have a lot of doubts now, so let's discuss it among yourselves, the motorcycle tribe and the beast tribe. Each race can ask me 2 questions. After the discussion between the 3 war kings of the Tiger King was the first to speak. "Holy Lord, we are curious about the immigration you just mentioned." Li Yan, "Immigration means taking all the lives you have here to another world, where materials are abundant and the land is vast. You will all live a better life without having to fight for land." Tyrannosaurus god, "Holy Lord, can our strength improve with you?" "No problem. Your world limits your level limit. Once you leave here, you will no longer be restricted by the rules of this world. Everyone can upgrade infinitely." There were a large number of motorcycle tribesmen. After a moment of discussion, it was decided that the Lord of Lightning City and the Lord of Moon Temple would raise the issue. Lightning City Lord, "Holy Lord, what we motorcycle people are concerned about is whether our future lives will be full of smoke or stable and peaceful. Gunsmoke means endless wars, and the situation for people like myself will be full of dangers, but if we can live a peaceful and stable life, immigration will not be a big problem in the past. You have the right to make free choices. Those who want to become stronger can keep fighting, and those who want to live in seclusion can live a stable life." Lord of the Moon Temple, "Holy Lord, some of us are extremely attached to the place where we have lived for hundreds of years and don't want to leave. I don't know if this is possible." Li Yan raised the corners of his mouth, "Of course not. Okay, you've finished asking your questions. Is there anything you don't know now?" Everyone was talking. They seemed to understand, but they didn't seem to understand anything. After the meeting, Li Yan was sitting with several people from the Warring States period, and he planned to talk to them about the reward system he had previously imagined. "I plan to set up a task system. I will tell you what I want you to do in the form of a task, and I will give you points based on your completion. The points are equivalent to currency. He can let you come to me to exchange for the power you need. But these are just my ideas, and there will still be some time before they are implemented." After Li Yan finished speaking, Warring States and others' eyes lit up. They chose to follow Li Yan in order to continue to become stronger. Looking back now, their original choice was really smart. Warring States quickly showed his loyalty. "Everything must be obeyed by the Holy Lord. We are willing to follow you forever. Haha, stop flattering me. If you do things well for me, I won't treat you badly." The 3 war kings, Tiger King, Wild Orangutan and Tyrannosaurus God, gathered together. They discussed every word Li Yan said at the meeting, and began to over-interpret every word he said. The Holy Lord said that we will no longer have a level cap, so our strength can be further enhanced. This is a good thing for us personally, but there are pros and cons. We will become the subordinates of others. The Tyrannosaurus God Wade, Fan said. Wild Orang has a straightforward personality and doesn't like these twists and turns, so he doesn't agree with Tyrannosaurus God. If he follows Li Yan, his strength can be further improved. That is simply a huge benefit. I really don't know what they have. Nothing to hesitate about. The wild orangutan's rough voice sounded. "I have followed the Holy Lord wholeheartedly. You two had better not have other thoughts, otherwise the opportunity for me, the wild orangutan, to make meritorious deeds will come." The Tiger King looked at him like he was an idiot, so what if he had other ideas? "The key is that I don't dare to implement it. If you have a chance, you have been tortured miserably before. If you don't know the current situation now, you will probably be turned into molten iron. The motorcycle clan also had a private conversation, but the atmosphere was much better. They mainly discussed how they should protect the interests of the entire motorcycle clan after joining. In the blink of an eye, 3 days have passed. Outside the Energy City, everyone from the world of Machine War King has gathered. The people from the Beast Clan and the Motorcycle Clan are divided into 2 piles. They have not yet completely let down their guard. They are still wary of each other, but no one dares make trouble. On the floating flying disc in Energy City, Li Yan and others stood with their hands behind their hands. Looking at the vast steel army below, they felt very satisfied. Although their strength was not very good, their appearance was pretty good. The 3 war kings of the Beast Tribe waved to the Beast Tribe people below, and all the tribesmen below knelt down and shouted, "Greetings to the King of Machine War, hello to the King of Machine War." The sound was so loud that it shook the heavens and the earth. The motorcycle race did not dare to fall behind. The whole people also shouted, "Greetings to the King of Motorcycles, greetings to the King of Motorcycles." Seeing the loud shouts of millions of people below, Li Yan was filled with pride from the bottom of his heart. "Haha, everyone, get up. I, Li Yan, your Machine War King, will definitely lead your machine clan to create greater glory." After speaking, Li Yan waved his hand and opened a portal to the Kingdom of Shadows. In the Kingdom of Shadows world, Li Yan chose a new planet for them as their home. This new planet was huge and larger than the current world of Machine War King. It's hundreds of times bigger, and it's rich in resources, allowing the mechanical tribe to freely exploit it. These mechanical beings formed an army formation and went through the portal in an orderly manner to their new home. When the last mechanical life walked into the portal, there was no other life in the world. It was empty, silent, and lifeless. Dip, the unowned plane has been detected and can be swallowed and fused. Hey, the basic information of the plane is being monitored. Hey, it is detected that the Machine King world plane is a super small plane, and the fusion will take 1 hour. Dip, do you want to start merging? The sound of beep, beep, made Li Yan stunned for a moment, but then he was surprised. He originally thought that the area of the Shadow Kingdom plane could not be expanded further, but now it seems that the Shadow Kingdom plane still has unlimited possibilities. Beginning to fusion. Hey, fusion begins, countdown is 0:59. When the mechanical lifeforms set foot on a new land, they did not feel the pain of leaving their homeland. After all, their original world was just a game map with only a few pitiful cities. But in the endless territory here, they can build hundreds of cities. With thousands of larger cities, the entire civilization will also enter a period of rapid development. This is such a vast and fertile land. Our descendants are so lucky to be able to live here, the Tiger King said with emotion. The wild orangutan laughed loudly after hearing this. The Tiger King has learned to be sentimental, but this is really our ideal home. As the countdown reaches 0, the planes merge successfully. Hey, the planes merged successfully, and the Shadow Kingdom plane expanded. Thor, who was casting stars, raised his huge dragon head and carefully sensed the surrounding cosmic space. With a weak energy fluctuation, the plane seemed to expand. Although it did not expand too much, it at least allowed him to cast stars. A galaxy of stars. Hey, I'm monitoring that you have returned to the original Marvel Universe from the world of robot warlords, and now the task settlement begins. Hey, the mission is being settled. Hey, Mission 1. Get at least 50 mechanical life followers in this plane. Mandatory mission completed. Hey, Mission 2. Disguise yourself as the King of Machine War in this plane. Mandatory mission completed. Hey, Mission 3. Unify all the armed forces in this plane and establish a unified regime. Voluntary mission completed. Hey, Mission 4. Destroy the big villain Blue Poison Beast. Mandatory mission completed. Hey, Mission 5. Collect energy amethysts. Voluntary mission completed. Hey, let's do the task evaluation now. Evaluate SS. Hey, the rewards are being settled. Hey, the reward settlement is completed. You receive the following rewards. Energy Amethyst Regeneration Mineral Vein Mechanical Life Fire Source Encyclopedia of Advanced Mechanical Tribe Knowledge. This reward made Li Yan's eyes light up. These seemed to be high-end goods. Needless to say, energy amethyst regeneration ore vein, could provide the entire mechanical race with unlimited backup resources, allowing them to be invincible in the war. The most interesting thing is the mechanical life fire source, which can expand the population base of the entire mechanical race. However, this thing has a shortcoming, that is, the mechanical race produced by using the fire source is very common and rarely appears. People like Human Torch and others have strong qualifications, so this thing can only be used as a violent weapon. Encyclopedia of Advanced Knowledge of Mechanical Tribes. This covers all the knowledge of mechanical life, body structure and body evolution, energy extension and energy utilization, mechanical nerve connection, mechanical machinery, how machines become gods, use of mechanical faith, creator of mechanical life. Looking at the book in his hand, Li Yan twitched the corner of his mouth and said, I didn't expect that I would be back in school today. These abilities can make this group of weapon tribes understand themselves better, make their body structure more perfect, and their attack power more powerful. With this knowledge, Li Yan can now move towards the level of super academic master. This time I have gained a lot. I have enriched my abilities and expanded the realm of the Shadow Kingdom. I have really made a profit. The Tyrannosaurus god and others were still looking around when a space door opened and Li Yan came to the new territory of the Tool clan. How is it? Not bad. The Tyrannosaurus god complimented. Thank you, Holy Lord, for your mercy. We are very satisfied with this place. We, the Tool clan, are willing to follow you forever and become the blade in your hand. By the way, among these guys, Li Yan only officially accepted Wild Orangutan and Tiger King as his followers, but he only got 3 skills: skill, Crazy Thunder Vajra Fist skill, Mountain Opening Vajra Palm skill, Tiger Claw. This made Li Yan feel boring and useless. But fly droppings are still feces no matter how small they are, and mosquito legs are still meat no matter how thin they are. In line with the principle of not wasting any money, these guys stepped forward one by one and formally surrendered. Hey, new minions Human Torch, Vanguard, Libetian, Shockwave, Tornado, Supersonic, and Tyrannosaurus have been detected. Dip, all the abilities of the followers you obtained. Thunderbolt. Skill, Thunder Half Moon / Li Ba Tian. Skill, Taishan Meteor Drop Tornado. Skill, Lightning Whirlwind Vanguard. Skill, Shocking Waves of Sand Shock Wave. Skill, Jedi Meteor Hammer Supersonic Speed. Skill, Breaking Ice / Tyrannosaurus God. Skill, Dragon King Different Dimension. Hey, it has been detected that 6 followers have a combined skill of 2 people, and the host cannot use it. The skills are now being optimized. Optimization is in progress. Dip, optimization successful. The combined attack skills of Thunderbolt and Vanguard. Skill, Flowing Shadow Lightning Flash. Skill, Flowing Shadow Lightning Flash. The user surrounds the enemy at an extremely fast speed, slashing and slashing continuously. Users need to use customized weapons such as halberds and long knives. The combined attack skill of Li Badian and Shock Wave. Skill, Polar Sandstorm. Skill, Polar Sandstorm. The user can control the surrounding sand to condense into huge rocks above his head, and project them at a designated location. The combined attack skill of Tornado and Supersonic Speed. Skill, Tianyu Dragon Slaying Dance. Skill, Tianyu Dragon Slaying Dance. The user flies in midair, creates a huge tornado to trap the enemy in it, and can summon the White Dragon Phantom to attack the enemy. Users need to use designated weapons such as long swords, broadswords, etc. The ultimate combined attack skill of Human Torch and Vanguard. Skill, Moonlight Blood Storm. Skill, Moonlight Blood Storm. It can only be used on a full moon night. The user absorbs the energy emitted by the moon, surrounds the enemy at lightning speed, and continuously slashes and slashes. Users need to use customized weapons such as halberds and long knives. Hey, because skills such as Tiger Sky Wings, Dragon King Cannon, Dragon Cloud Shocking Wings, and other skills cannot be synchronized due to different body structures, we will now compensate you with 10 one-time skill cards. Skill card contains a skill that anyone can obtain after using it. Li Yan turned over his hand, and 10 cards appeared in his hand. The name of the skill was written on the front, and the skill introduction was on the back. However, these skills were the 10 skills he had obtained in the world of Mech King. Skill Thunder Half Moon Slash, Skill Tarzan Meteor Pendant, Skill Lightning Whirlwind, Skill Shocking Waves of Sand, Skill Jedi Meteor Hammer, Skill Breaking Ice Slash, Skill Dragon King Different Dimension, Skill Crazy Thunder Vajra Fist skill, Mountain Building Vajra Palm skill, Tiger Claw. Although I have no great use for them, these skills are quite powerful. I happen to have planned to exchange them for contributions before, so I can keep these things as exchange treasures. After the mission was completed, Li Yan took out the reward Mechanical Life Fire Source he had just received. This thing was very large, like a super large pyramid, similar to the barracks in those tower defense games. Li Yan will it found an open space and put it down. This huge guy, whose whole body was made of pitch black steel and looked full of technology, wondered whether it was easy to use. After careful observation, Li Yan finally knew how to use this thing. Li Yan walked into the tower. There was a special control room inside, where only people with permission could enter. Looking at the control mode of virtual imaging in front of him, Li Yan called him an expert. After a few operations, several virtual images of the Machine Clan popped up in front of Li Yan, including Black Iron Beasts, Black Panther Beasts, sports car-type motorcycles, truck-type motorcycles, etc. You can even design what you need by yourself. Mechanical life, but this requires the assistance of mechanical knowledge. After selecting it, as long as the raw materials are added, mechanical soldiers will be continuously produced. Li Yan didn't want it to be too complicated, so he just paid 50 to see if the weapons produced by this thing were up to standard. After telling the Thunderbolts and others, Li Yan turned and left, heading to Poseidon, where his wives were still on vacation. When we came to Poseidon, the place has developed well after construction. There are many high-rise buildings and the crowded streets are very lively. The place has now developed in both directions of technology and superpowers, and it no longer only focuses on individual power like the pirate world. When I walked into the new government compound, I saw a statue of myself in the courtyard. If I looked carefully, it was not as handsome as myself. He turned around and saw Luffy and his father. Dragon walked in front, carrying Luffy, Ace and Sabo's school bags on his back, followed by 3 little boys, each holding an ice cream cone in their hands, sticking out their tongues and licking them, looking a little funny. Long raised his head and saw Li Yan standing in the distance, so he quickened his pace and walked to Li Yan's side. He bowed and said, "Holy Lord, you are here." Li Yan nodded and asked, "Are you going to pick up your children from school?" "Yes, our old man didn't have time today, so he asked me to go." Long replied with a serious face. "Oh, what did General Garp do?" Li Yan remembered that he complained more than once during the Warring States period. Garp picked up and dropped off his grandson every day and rarely went out on missions. He made an appointment with Warring States to go fishing, so. Li Yan smiled slightly. Long was not with Garp before, but now I am me, and my son must obey me no matter what. He turned his eyes to the 3 Luffy brothers. These guys are living so leisurely now. Then Li Yan asked about Long's current affairs in the academy. "Holy Master, Poseidon Academy has hundreds of campuses, with a total of more than 50 students. After our strict evaluation and selection, there are more than a dozen people with high talents. Although the proportion is not high, these seedlings can be put to great use in the future." Li Yan nodded, looking forward to the future growth of these little guys. Now that everything is improving, these children can learn more systematically and comprehensively, and have more choices without wasting any talent. After chatting with Long for a few words, Li Yan walked into the government building. The person who greeted him was Gion. Now Gion is the secretary of the entire Poseidon, and is the woman with the highest status and the strongest strength here. Gion has the strength of a general, but she has not received the power given by Li Yan, so there is a huge gap in strength from the dozen or so generals now. However, she is beautiful. The Warring States period once told her that sooner or later she will be able to succeed. Gion bowed and said, "Holy Lord, I'm glad to have you here." Li Yan grinned. He didn't even see a female in the world of King of Fighters. Now seeing Gion is really pleasing to the eye. I'm also very happy to have a beautiful woman to receive me. Marshal Warring States is on his way back. What are your orders? I can do it for you. Li Yan waved his hand and said, "Nothing, where are the ladies?" Gion. They went to the northern continent to hunt. Li Yan frowned. According to the map of Poseidon, the 4 supercontinents are Poseidon Continent where Li Yan is currently located, Plateau Continent, Northern Continent, Beast Continent, Poseidon Continent and Plateau Continent. They are relatively safer. There are no large-scale continents here. The ferocious beasts survive, but the northern continent and the beast continent are very dangerous. Seeing Li Yan frowning, Gion quickly said, "But don't worry, we have 4 generals Zepha, Kizaru, Yixia, Barrett and elite navy escorts, so there won't be any accidents." Li Yan was not worried about their accident, but worried that they would go too far and kill all the ferocious beasts. "Forget it, leave them alone." Sengoku arrived in a hurry, wearing casual slippers and beach shorts. Garp followed behind carrying a bucket and fishing rod. Now they didn't have to worry about pirates, and they were living a good life. "The task contribution system I mentioned before, how is your design going?" Sengoku quickly asked Gion to get a prepared document from the safe. Li Yan took it and looked at it carefully, and soon he had a plan in mind. In addition to the 8 demonic energies, the 10 skill cards I just got, and the One Piece World character card from the last mission, there is nothing that can directly improve my strength, but he can also provide some high-tech weapons, and even order a batch of artifacts from the dwarves in Nidoui. This calculation is enough for now. Warring States waited on the side cautiously. He was afraid that Li Yan would not be satisfied with the plan they made. After all, he is not the one who speaks now. There are 13 generals in the entire government system. Everyone's opinions need to be heard. Garp stood aside and felt that it was unreliable. In order to earn more points, those guys would fill in all the big and small things, and they would do anything. "I am very satisfied with the suggestions you provided, but many of them cannot be counted. For example, it is impossible to ask you for trivial matters in life such as helping the Holy Lord buy groceries, and helping the Holy Lord stand guard, so I did not add them. It is necessary to go in." Warring States. "Yes, Holy Lord, let's go back and revise it again." "Okay, hurry up and finish it, so that you can get what you want earlier." Garp asked, "Holy Lord, who should record our points, or who should we ask to exchange for things?" "Don't worry, I have already planned it. I will arrange the shadow soldiers to take charge of this matter. There will never be any mistakes." Chapter 91. Since his wives are having fun, Li Yan doesn't plan to disturb them anymore. "I just want to give my chicken a holiday these days. He is too tired during this period." Li Yan returned to the Marvel Universe and went to Planet Ego to see Rick. Rick followed Li Yan's instructions to conduct devil fruit experiments, and now he has made a new breakthrough. Before, Rick could plant one and grow another one. Although it was useless, it is different now. He is interested in growing devil fruits. The vines of the fruit were studied and a super potion was created. After several experiments, it was found that whenever the devil fruit matures, it will automatically fall off and the vines will quickly wither. However, Rick collected the vines at the moment the devil fruit matured and conducted a lot of experiments to extract the juice, concentration and other complex operations to create a super potion with no side effects. The fruit that Rick experimented with was a natural flaming fruit. After taking the potion, it has the same ability as taking the fruit. Although the potion has no side effects, its power is much smaller than that of the real fruit, and it is not even the same magnitude at all. But these potions still have very powerful effects. Although there is a big gap between the attack power and the original fruit, it can provide some auxiliary abilities. For example, Piao Piao fruit, Momo fruit, Diamond fruit, Jinjin fruit, Mimic fruit, Door fruit, Rubber fruit, Poison fruit. These fruits create potions, which can greatly improve your combat ability after use. Later, Rick also showed Li Yan the super potion he made for Apocalypse. The effect of potions can increase the level of abilities and strengthen abilities. After taking the potion, Apocalypse's strength improved greatly. Almost all his abilities were upgraded to 1 level, and many powerful abilities in his body were strengthened and raised to level 5. Looking at the super potion in Rick's hand, Li Yan took it into his own hand, held it in front of his eyes, and looked at it carefully. The blue potion was exceptionally clear. He pulled out the stopper from the bottle and smelled it with his nose. There was no peculiar smell at all. Li Yan raised his head and drank the potion in 1 gulp. Then he felt a heat in his abdomen. His whole body turned red like a steamed crab, but fortunately he didn't feel anything else. After a while, Li Yan's skin returned to its original color, and the heat in his body disappeared, but he did not feel that he had become much stronger. In the final analysis, his own strength was still strong, and this improvement had a negligible increase in his overall strength. Yes, let's study the first demon potion carefully. That potion still has great potential. Try to expand the production. Okay, Holy Lord, I will work hard if I can get your approval. Lufa also came over at this time. Now that the Shira armor was requisitioned by Li Yan, his strength was average among Li Yan's entourage. After seeing the inspirational story of Apocalypse's efforts to improve his strength, he also came to seek help from Rick. But Apocalypse is a mutant, he has something that Rick is interested in, and there is nothing else in his body except the Jengdan Vajra. Subordinates, please see the Holy Master. Well, get up, what's the matter with you? Li Yan asked. Lufa, I want to become stronger so that I can share the worries of the Holy Master. Li Yan thought the same thing. He had many followers now, but only a few were top-notch. Lufa's current strength really couldn't help him. Since he was working so hard to improve, he should give him some help, right? Very good, I'm glad you think so, but it's a good thing to want to become stronger. Don't rush for success. Of the 3 Pirate World character peak skill cards that Li Yan obtained last time, he used one when giving Ben Beckman the ability, and chose Blackbeard at his peak, the guy with 2 fruit abilities. Now this Blackbeard peak skill card can be used twice, just to strengthen the way. After being strengthened, Lufa left the Jengdan Vajra to Rick for study, and ran out to experiment with his abilities alone. Now among his entourage, except for the low-strength mechanical clans in the world of the Machine War King, there are no other weak ones. Back on Earth in New York, I opened the door of my house and walked in alone. It seemed that the empty house was missing a caring and beautiful maid. Pietro is still working at S.H.I.E.L.D., and he is much more mature now than before. Wanda was right. Pietro did learn a lot from Coulson and became capable, responsible and steady. Thor is now restricted to Asgard by Odin, because the last time the 2 brothers were on Earth and Pietro female ticket female Chong Odin felt very embarrassed, but Thor is not alone like Loki. I am a person who has a girlfriend on Earth. This day is like 3 autumns every other day. As a young man with strong firepower, this is undoubtedly very painful. These days, he has been asking Loki nonchalantly how to sneak out of Asgard. The establishment of the Avengers has put a heavier burden on Nick Fury, but now he has greater power. He is like an undercover agent hiding in Snake and S.H.I.E.L.D., and has sneaked into the boss position. Now he is about to close the net. He sat on the sofa with his legs on the table, his hands intertwined and pillowed behind his head, thinking about how to stand up again. S.H.I.E.L.D. is now at a critical moment of life and death, and there are not many subordinates he can fully trust. If one of them fails, his life may be in danger at any time, which makes him very difficult. Lying on the sofa at home, Li Yan lit a high-end cigar sent by Tony Stark. Although Tony did not smoke, he could still get a collector's edition if he had money and connections. He blew out the smoke gently, and it turned out to be much better than before. He said with a look of enjoyment, I hate this evil capitalism. Tony Stark is upgrading his armor, and the virtual image in front of him looks like Shira armor. Although he can't make such a powerful armor now, fortunately he has a goal. Putting down the tools in his hands, he poured a glass of high-end red wine and took a sip. Jarvis, has Dr. Banner responded to my email? Sir, Dr. Banner replied, but unfortunately he rejected your plan to develop artificial intelligence together. Tony said with hatred, how do these guys think that the next time aliens invade and beat the crap out of us, they will understand the seriousness of the matter? I have a hunch that aliens will come again sooner or later. Sir, this is not something we should consider. HMPH, those trash politicians only have their own interests in mind and don't care about the lives of civilians. Tony said with disdain. Jarvis, continue sending emails to Banner until Banner agrees. Okay, sir. With the bombardment of emails one after another, Banner couldn't bear to be bothered and made a call. Hey, Tony, I'm not interested in your plan. Bannerson said helplessly. Hey, you are finally willing to reply to my message. Dr. Banner and we, as members of the Avengers, should make protecting the Earth our first responsibility. Banner shook his head and smiled bitterly. You, a capitalist, have nothing to do. You have delusional disorder about the destruction of the Earth, but I can't do it. How can I still work and live? Tony, you know, I still have to live, work hard, and buy a house and start a family in New York, where land is at a premium, so. Tony laughed and said, I know what you mean. You will receive our formal invitation letter later. I will give you an 8-figure annual salary. 9 figures are not out of the question. Tony hung up the phone. Banner shook his head and smiled bitterly. I like this evil capitalist. In the evening, the sound of keys opening the door woke Li Yan up. Pietro dragged his tired body back home. Now he can be regarded as a model worker of S.H.I.E.L.D. He followed Coulson around from 8 to 9 every day, and his body was about to fall apart from fatigue. Brother-in-law, when did you come back? As soon as he walked in and saw Li Yan on the sofa, Pietro was slightly surprised. I just came back not long ago and fell asleep on the sofa. Li Yan opened his sleepy eyes and responded to Pietro in a daze. Pietro took out 2 cans of drinks from the refrigerator and handed one to Li Yan. Pietro, let me refresh you with a bottle of happy water. How are you doing? I really envy you for being free every day and doing whatever you want. Seeing Pietro's face full of envy, Li Yan was secretly proud. Although you envy me very much, you know that it's not easy for me either. My cock is open all year round. If you quit your job, you will be like me. Pietro waved his hand. Now he regards this job as his life's career, because he has grown a lot in this job. As long as the company doesn't close down, I will keep working. No, I like this job. Although it is tiring, every day is fulfilling. And everyone S.H.I.E.L.D. comes into contact with is a talented person, and they speak well. Haha, why do you really want to be the next director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Li Yan asked with a smile. Pietro immediately stuck to Li Yan's side and whispered, when the time comes, you must support me. I am your child's biological uncle. I am about to enter an official career. Your child is also a son of a powerful person. Don't worry, I will support you, but my child, how can I leave a few universes for him to rule? You, a little director, are considered a powerful person. HMPH, you still look down on the director. Do you know how much power S.H.I.E.L.D. has? Forget it, I won't tell you these secrets. Remember to help me when the time comes. After saying that, Pietro got up and went back to the house. After a tiring day, he just wanted to go to bed early. But Pietro's words made Li Yan think deeply. With so many women, he would definitely have many children. If he didn't work hard, the property each child would get would be very small, and it might even be less than a universe. I was still a little confused at first, but now I am awake in an instant, yes. Pietro had already turned over, so what right did he have to slack off? I opened the portal and came to Poseidon. It was also evening here and the whole world was slightly quiet. I found my wives and saw them eating barbecue and drinking red wine. They all had faces full of enjoyment, just like a group of rich ladies leisurely. The afternoon was the same. Hey, it seems I'm redundant. Li Yan laughed at himself. Bados quickly stepped forward to hold Li Yan's arm, and handed the roasted meat in his hand to Li Yan's mouth. Seeing Li Yan eating it, he started to ask coquettishly, is it delicious? You baked it. Chew it a few times, swallow it, and think to yourself, as if you knew I was coming, how dare you lie, watch me take off your pants and give you a spanking, bah, spank you. He said honestly, of course my wife's roast is delicious. After finding a seat and sitting down, Wanda Gila and others began to serve Li Yan one by one. Li Yan was like a high-level paraplegic. He looked at what he wanted to eat and opened his mouth when the food came to his mouth. He hugged her left and right at the same time. Enjoying the delicious food, if Pietro saw it, he would probably die of envy. Li Yan began to tell everyone about what he had seen in the motorcycle world a few days ago. This time I went to a mechanical civilization world, where the force value is low, and there is no other life except the machine tribe. It is desolate, it is not interesting, but the harvest is not bad. Millions of Tool Clan beings have been moved to a new planet by me. I will take you to see the world when I have time. Wanda responded directly. What's so interesting about a bunch of scrap metal? Although you are right, I will not refute it. In the past few days, everyone is going to rebel, and my chicken will be tired again. New York. Li Yan came to sit at home with nothing to do, and spent the whole day studying the book he had been rewarded with. Li Yan, who was as smart as Rick, said it was all trivial. I knew all these words, but it was a bit complicated to connect them together. After all, it can cover all the knowledge from mechanical introduction to mechanical godhood. Whoever gets this book is the creator. After closing the Encyclopedia of Advanced Knowledge of the Mechanical Tribe, after 10 days of hard work, I have learned half of it, and I will graduate in another half month. In order to apply what he has learned, Li Yan plans to create his first mechanical life. A top-notch military tank was prepared. Oh, by the way, this has nothing to do with the one that was lost at the military base 2 days ago. Although it looks the same, this one's surname is Li. The same goes for the fighter jet next to it. Although it is similar to the one lost by the military, this one does not have GPS positioning, so there is still a big difference. Injecting so-called mechanical energy into the tank in front of him, the basic structural model of the tank instantly appeared in Li Yan's mind, and then several transformation types appeared, including command type, leader type, armed gravity type, all kinds of things. There are various styles, and you can also set the type according to your own preferences. Li Yan randomly chose a leader type, and added a lot of vibranium to the tank to form an armor layer on the outer shell. He added a top-end computer as a computing brain to improve the intelligence of the motorcycle rider, and took out an energy amethyst crystal, providing it with more powerful energy. After the design was completed, the evolution of mechanical life began. A burst of light shot out from Li Yan's palm and entered the inside of the tank. Then the tank was enveloped by a semicircular light group. With a burst of crackling deformation, a large motorcycle man with a height of 13 or 4 meters appeared in Li Yan's body, forward. He has a serious and steady face, a protruding muzzle on his chest, and his body is made of military green and black. He has oval-shaped armor on his 2 arms that can be contracted. He has an energy cannon in the center of his palms and infrared rays on his shoulders. Positioning scan, the barrel on the chest can fire tracking shells. The tank rider who had just awakened looked at Li Yan, knelt on his knees, and said in a deep and strong voice, "Greetings to Father God. Do you know that I created you?" Li Yan asked in surprise. "In my hazy memory, you shine like a star." "Well, it sounds so nice. Do you have a name?" The tank biker shook his head. "Please Father God, give me a name and a mission for my existence. Li Yan is a bad name. I really don't know how to name it. When I think of a tank, people think of the king of land warfare and a war machine. Li Yan's purpose in creating this tank biker was to send him to lead the entire machine clan, namely Thunderbolt and Tiger King, so the name must be domineering. War Overlord, your name will be Warlord from now on. I hope you can become the artillery in my hand and blow all enemies to pieces." Let the war tyrant stand aside honestly, and Li Yan began to mechanically evolve the fighter jet. Just like before, a burst of light shot out from Li Yan's palm and entered the interior of the combat aircraft. Then the combat aircraft was enveloped by a semicircular light group. With a burst of crackling deformation, another large motorcycle man with a height of 13 or 4 meters appeared in front of Li Yan. The fighter motorcycle man looks not as strong as the warlord next to him, but the fighter plane has the ability to fly and has obvious air superiority. The fighter motorcycle man looks similar to the supersonic speed in Lolo Adventures, but I don't know if he can learn the skills of supersonic speed. The silver-white shell of the fighter motorcycle looks cold and handsome. It has a machine gun on its arm and 2 missiles hanging on its back. Logically speaking, it can be loaded with nuclear bombs and carry out nuclear strikes on the target. If you have time, let Rick make 2. A blind guy tries his power. Li Yan directly named the fighter Zon Falcon and asked him to be Zonba's younger brother. He would obey Zonba's orders in the future. After all, Zonba had given Li Yan a top-notch computer. Afterwards, Li Yan opened the portal and took them to the current home of the Tool clan. Li Yan first went to see the tower that produces mechanical life, which is the source of fire for mechanical life. Many tanks and motorcycles were produced in the shape of Warlord, allowing Warlord to have his own clansmen. Under the leadership of Li Yan, Zonba and Zon Falcon arrived at the newly built city of the Tool clan. Walking on the wide and clean steel road, looking at the towering pure steel city walls around him, Li Yan sighed, how much iron is needed. Came to the meeting hall of the entire Tool clan, where there are 3 war kings of the Beast clan and 6 generals of the Motorcycle clan. Although they were divided into 2 races before, they are now collectively called the Tool clan. After a period of time, they will be completely integrated. As one body, Li Yan's purpose this time is to make Zanba the leader of the Tuol clan. As for why he didn't choose between the Human Torch and the others, he was afraid that it would be difficult to convince the public. As for the newcomers he arranged, no one would dare to object, let alone anyone who would go against it. Introduction. This is War Overlord. He is my newly appointed leader of the Tuol clan. He will serve as my envoy to command the entire Tuol clan and lead the Tuol clan to develop and grow. And you are the ministers who will assist him. I hope everyone can do their best and work together to make the Tuol clan prosper. After solving the problem of the leader of the Tuol clan, Li Yan got up and went home. To be honest, the current potential of the Tuol clan was not worth his excessive investment. New York City. Jink White's daughter now pesters him to tell bedtime stories every day. As an expert on ancient literature, he is usually not liked by his daughter. The reason for this change is all due to General Ross. General Ross is now very decadent. Ever since his confidence was shattered by Li Yan, Ross has known that his super soldier plan is a joke. Now he is superstitious in theology and is immersed in the fantasy of being saved by gods. After he knows Asgard, after learning that virtue is real, he became even more certain that the gods and Buddhas in the ancient mythology were real, and he was trapped in it and couldn't extricate himself. It's just that those ancient and true secrets are not accessible to ordinary people at all. However, General Ross relied on his connections to search for a large number of ancient books and planned to try his luck in them. Many books recorded a large number of myths and legends, but this also it's just people's fertile imaginations. Jink White was the translator of these materials. He was invited by General Ross and came from the University Church to General Ross's secret experimental base. Here he saw countless mythological records depicting the ancient gods. After completing the translation during the day, he returned. When I get home, I tell it as a story to my daughter. Ross looked at Jink White's translations in the past few days and shook his head in disappointment again. There are no clues here at all, it's all nonsense. Hatred squatted aside and looked at the grumpy Ross. Instead, he began to comfort Ross. Calm down, how can those great beings be recorded in mortal books so easily? Calm down, how can you tell me to calm down? I spent so much money to raise a bunch of trash. Rose roared angrily. Now everyone thinks he is crazy, and his daughter has also moved out from home to live with Banner. He seems to be in a midlife crisis. His career is not going well and his family is not in harmony. The strong mental pressure makes him very irritable and easy to deal with, angry. A ferocious expression appeared on Hate's face, and he let out a Gia 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 laugh, which was even more weird in this dark underground. It seems we have to take some special actions. General Ross's eyes instantly turned cold. Among the information collected, there were many evil sacrifices. However, after several attempts to no avail, Ross stopped continuing the experiment. What should we do? Looking for 100 heinous people, we need their souls. Abomination said. There is no problem with people. There are plenty of them in American prisons, but this time we will be greeted by a barrage of missiles when we fail. Even if I get people, the souls, how should we extract them? As long as the souls of these guys are delicious enough, those evil gods will find a way on their own. Gia Gia Gia. With the thought of treating a dead horse as a live doctor, Ross began to prepare materials for the plan. He used his authority to find the warden of a prison and lied that he was going to hire 100 criminals with heinous crimes to help him do it. After offering a high price, he received a warm reception. General Ross, it's an honor for these garbage to be able to help you. After the number of people was counted, the warden put the criminals on the receiving car with a smile on his face. The warden leaned into Rose's ear. General, they will be yours for the next month. Ross smiled and nodded without replying, thinking to himself, capitalism is really good. He brought these prisoners back to his secret base, where except for Ross and Abomination, there were only dozens of General Ross's loyal followers. The prisoners didn't know why, but they didn't panic. This was not the first time they had experienced this. The warden would often pick up some coolies and let them, the prisoners, work for him to make money. Wearing handcuffs and shackles, they lined up in several rows and squatted in the corner of this dark underground base. Many of them secretly guessed that this was probably a tunnel. They were hired to dig the tunnel. Some even thought that this was a sewer somewhere. They want to clear the sewer. But even when it comes to cleaning toilets, they don't have the right to choose not to. The sound of ta-da footsteps came, and Ross walked slowly in front of everyone, looked at the sacrifices, and showed a scary smile. He was not interested in talking to these dying people. After looking around, these criminals were quite honest under the intimidation of the soldiers. Ross found the abomination. I have brought the person back, what should I do next? Rose's scheming was beyond knowing how far away Abomination could be. Listening to Abomination's advice was simply a sign of illness and seeking medical attention. Who knew Abomination had ever met Mephisto, the Lord of Hell? Abomination. Kill them all, their sinful souls will surely lure Mephisto here. Are you sure you don't want to add some more rituals? Hatred knows so much, but he knows that Mephisto loves sinful souls. Abomination said. Then while killing, pray to Mephisto, praying that he can give us strength. Two crazy believers of the evil god began a brutal evil sacrifice. They asked the soldiers to bring the 100 people to the hall that had been prepared before, and asked the criminals to kneel on the ground one by one in a circle. After getting ready, let the soldiers retreat and lock the door. It's time for Abomination and Rose to appear. The criminals panicked instantly when they saw Abomination. Abomination looked like a man-eating monster. The criminals all got up and ran away, but the exit locked by a thick iron door, it was impossible to leave. Dong dong dong. Fear forced them to keep banging against the iron door, screaming in fear, and some were so frightened that their crotches were wet. Their legs and feet could no longer be used, and they could not run even if they wanted to. Along with the words of disgust, with a roar, the killing began. Abomination smashed one person's head with a punch, and slapped another person away with a slap. The huge force made people feel like a cannonball, which was embedded in the wall. The other criminals began to run around in the empty hall. Stimulated by the desire to survive, he struggled to find an exit. His hatred and bloodthirsty nature was satisfied. He grabbed a criminal with one hand and hit each other hard. The two of them were torn apart in a few seconds. He grabbed one person here, grabbed his head with one hand, and pulled his feet with the other hand, and directly tore the person into pieces. Two halves. While he hates killing, Rose prays devoutly and constantly sings the praises of the great Mephisto. In less than 3 minutes, 100 criminals were all tortured and killed by Abomination. He stepped on the sticky ground and wiped the blood from his hands. The pungent smell of blood made Ross feel nauseous. Gia Gia Gia, it's so delicious. Who prepared such a sumptuous dinner for me? I have to thank him very much. Accompanied by the terrifying laughter, Rose and Abomination looked solemn, knowing that the real master was coming. Mephisto's soul projection appeared in front of Abomination and Rose. This was the first time Rose saw each other. He looked at the other person curiously, but no matter how hard he opened his eyes or concentrated his attention, he could not see the other person's face clearly, let alone remember the other person's shape. Mephisto looked at Abomination, seemingly remembering something. GG, green-skinned monster, we are really destined. Tell me, what do you two ants want to ask me for? Mephisto had just eaten 100 sinful souls and was in a good mood. However, as a demon, those souls were just desserts, while Rose and the abominable souls were worthy of his main meal. Ross, we need power. As long as we have power, we can provide you with countless sinful souls, and we will worship you forever. Gia Gia Gia, this is too easy. The weird laughter sounded again. Rose and Hatred felt a chill in their stomachs, and their legs began to tremble involuntarily. After speaking, Mephisto took out a contract. You two drop your own blood on it, and I will give you great power. Rose and Abomination didn't hesitate at all. Wasn't their previous efforts just for today? Although the other party is not a good person, aren't he and Hatred also guilty of heinous crimes? There is nothing to hesitate about. 3 liang to 1 pound. The two of them dropped their blood on the contract in Mephisto's hand without hesitation. Along with Mephisto's Gia 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 laughter, Mephisto gave the power to hate the fire of hell, and gave Rose the power to corrupt everything. After receiving the power given by Mephisto, Abomination's whole body was ignited with raging fire. After being burned by the fire of hell, all the muscles in his body disappeared, revealing the thick bones in his body. Now Abomination is a huge skeleton burning with fire. He is very similar to Ghost Rider, possessing indestructible hellfire and almost immune to physical attacks, but Abomination does not have a spirit of vengeance, and is itself a representative of evil, unable to use the Eye of Judgment. Gaining the abomination of hellfire, his strength has improved a lot. Now he should be able to completely defeat the Hulk in normal state. Thor is no match for him, and Iron Man is even less likely to pose a threat to him. Transformed into a very powerful fat catfish, and made a beautiful salty fish turnaround. Ross gained the ability to corrode. His face became pale, and his originally gray hair became snow white without any blackness. There were a lot of wrinkles on his face, but his slightly rickety figure became tall and straight, and the muscles all over his body became the bump had also begun, and Ross now looked more than a dozen years older, but his body was back to its peak. Mephisto was very satisfied when he saw the strengthened two men. He was now confident that he could take back the Saint Fangenza contract. The Saint Fangenza contract sealed the souls of 3,000 fallen saints. It was Mephisto who spent thousands of years planning and cultivating a village called Fangenza. The people in the village all believed in God devoutly. In the end, the village is full of saints, and then he designed a beautiful woman who was wronged, causing the whole village to fall. According to the contract, part of them became Lucifer's subordinates. The most powerful part was sealed in the contract. Originally, Mephisto he wanted to make a powerful magic weapon and open the gate to hell at the original site of Fangenza village, but due to various accidents, the contract of Saint Fangenza remained in the world. Dr. Banner is fully dressed. Today is his first day at work at the Stark Group. His girlfriend Betty is very satisfied with his new job. As long as Banner works hard for a year, they can settle down in New York and live a happy life. Live a happy life. As the only daughter of General Ross, Betty was naturally not short of money, but her father and Banner didn't get along, so she left home and silently supported Banner behind his back. Thinking of the virtuous Betty, Banner was full of confidence in the future. Putting aside the distracting thoughts in his mind, Banner came to Pepper's office. "Hi, hello, I'm Banner, Tony asked me to come." Pepper had heard Tony mention Banner. In Tony's words, Banner's intelligence could be compared with his. Pepper, who knew Tony very well, was shocked. This was not something her arrogant boss could say. "Hello, Dr. Banner, I am Pepper Potts, and the Stark Group welcomes you. I will take you to Tony now." Banner followed Pepper and came to Tony's private laboratory. Tony still underestimated the power of money. He didn't expect Banner to come so quickly, but he was very happy to see Banner. He once fought against the invasion of the Chitauri army, and now they can study artificial intelligence together to protect the safety of the Earth. It's really what a special fate. Come in quickly, Banner. You know it took a lot of effort for me to invite you. Who told you not to mention money before? I thought it was in vain. Haha, I'm sorry, Tony, you know I'm getting married, so I need a stable job so that Betty can live a happy life. Little Pepper looked at Banner. Although he looked ordinary, he was very capable and a good man. Then he looked at his boss, a playboy who did not do his job properly. Tony noticed Pepper's gaze and quickly changed the subject. "That Banner, I'm here to find you to research cross-generational artificial intelligence technology. In other words, to give life to robots." New York. Li Yan's family has become lively again because of the return of Wanda and the others. Chin hasn't been back to the Mutant Academy for a long time. She misses her friends there. Li Yan hasn't been to Xavier Academy for a long time. "I am really unqualified as a physical hygiene teacher. How can I teach Chin alone?" As a luxurious car parked at the gate of Xavier College, Professor X and others personally greeted it at the door. Because of Li Yan's existence, Apocalypse was not killed by the mutants. Instead, he became a spiritual leader, uniting all mutants. Magneto and others are Apocalypse's loyal fans and right-hand assistants. Now Magneto's prestige among mutants is not comparable to that of Professor X in front of him, but Magneto and the others did not act excessively. The mentally retarded politicians listened to S.H.I.E.L.D's advice and did not dare to provoke mutants. His eyes flashed with hatred, and he shook his fleshless palm, then grabbed Rose's head with his hands and lifted it off the ground. He opened his bloody mouth and said viciously, "Now, you must listen to me, or I will crush your head." Rose's face was livid, and he punched and kicked Abomination in the air, using his ancestral secret skills Ranjiba punch technique and blind Jiba kick technique. Although the moves were fierce, they had no effect at all. Abomination gradually gained strength, and the force was huge. It was like a tight spell, giving him a splitting headache. Okay, let me go. Ross couldn't bear it and had to compromise. Hatred let go, and Ross fell to the ground. Ross, who was lying flat on the ground, roared unwillingly. He asked, "Why now? Why didn't you do this before?" Abomination opens its mouth wide, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth, with a ferocious expression. "GG, it's very simple. I didn't dare before, but now, I have the possibility to continue to become stronger. Mephisto not only gave me strength, but also gave me ambition." Looking at the unwilling Rose, he sneered. "Idiot, do you think you are strong? Do you still remember how I was completely tortured? Although a long time has passed, that day is still vivid in my mind. Whenever I recall it, I will tremble involuntarily. It is the fear engraved in my bones." After hearing the words of hatred, Rose's swollen heart calmed down. The overwhelming hatred at that time was like a little Japan that drank nuclear wastewater, and was not much different from a dead dog. What do they mean compared to Master Mephisto? When he mentioned Mephisto, Ross instantly stiffened up. He warned Abomination. "Abomination, don't forget, I am also Master Mephisto. A loyal believer, if you kill me, my lord will not forgive you." Abomination bent down, pinched Rose's neck, and lifted him off the ground again. This time Abomination was much gentler. He put his face as close to Rose's ear as possible, but Ross misunderstood. He thought Abomination was showing its bestiality. Wanting to eat himself, he flapped his hands randomly. The power of Abomination is not something Rose can break free from at will. Although he has gained the ability to corrode, this ability is effective against ordinary people or some objects, and has no effect at all on Abomination in the Hellfire state. Putting his face next to Rose's ear, he said softly, "Do you really think Mephisto is invincible? If he were invincible, I wouldn't have experienced death again and again." Ross stopped struggling instantly, with shock in his eyes. Will his efforts be in vain again? Ross was placed on the ground in disgust, and an inexplicable sadness surged into his heart. He thought he had turned over, but he had turned over, just not completely. Thinking about other superheroes, each one is stronger than the other, living a small life, each one was more nourishing than the other, and looking at these villains, each one was worse than the last. He shouted in his heart, "God, please open your eyes." Single quote. Li Yan lay down on the sofa in Wanda's arms, occasionally looking up to admire the snowy mountains, and eating grapes peeled by Wanda herself. "If you have a wife like this, please be sure to have more." Wanda picked up a piece of apple and handed it to Li Yan's mouth. Li Yan opened his mouth and bit down, chewed a few times and swallowed it. Gila secretly watched Wanda from the side, secretly learning how to serve others. At the same time, he expressed contempt for Li Yan for being so lazy. "I thought to myself, if I had his strength, I would have ruled the universe long ago. I will definitely marry a wife like me, and I will only marry one. I will not be like some scumbags who have 5 wives." "Gila, I see you are so absorbed, what are you thinking about?" Li Yan asked, looking at Gila, who was in a daze. Hearing Li Yan's question, Gila smiled charmingly. "I'm wondering whether our child is a boy or a girl." "And what do you think our child should be called?" For a moment, Li Yan sat up from Wanda's arms and stared directly at Gila, with a look of disbelief on his face. Are you pregnant? What, are you going to abandon us, mother and son?" Gila said, stroking her belly. "That's not true, it's just a little unexpected." You lied to me, there is no other life in you." "Okay, how dare you lie, see if I don't spank you." Shield. Pietro sat in his office, drinking tea brought from Li Yan, imagining and flashing a beautiful life, and enjoying the rare leisure time comfortably. Nick Fury pushed open the door and walked in. Pietro's little brother was so frightened that he immediately shrank his head and stepped back. "Hey, won't you knock on the door when you come in?" Pietro said guiltily. "I was originally researching new poses. I didn't expect to be interrupted by you, a black braised egg. It's really unlucky." "Oh, I'm sorry, I have something urgent to do with you." "Don't worry about it if it's urgent. Pietro, we just received news that in a prison in New Mexico, more than 2,600 prisoners were brutally murdered, and more than prison guards were also killed. The death was very strange, as if they were killed by a violent impact. There are only a handful of complete corpses at the scene, and some corpses were severely decomposed in less than a day. Coulson has already gone to investigate, and now he needs your support." After hearing about such an exciting case, Pietro instantly became excited. Brother, it's time for me to receive the reward for my meritorious service. He carefully inquired about Coulson's location, said goodbye to the braised eggman, and quickly ran towards New Mexico. Looking at Pietro, who disappeared in an instant, Nick Fury secretly sighed, I wish I had a sister. If Li Yan knew Nick Fury's evil thoughts, he would probably take the Red Skull back from Vormir and let Hydra rule the Earth, if for no other reason than Hydra could not think of such a disgusting thing. Coulson led a large number of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to seal off the prison. Seeing the fragmented human tissue everywhere inside, even the well-informed S.H.I.E.L.D. agents shuddered. Coulson suppressed the worries in his heart and asked Nick again. Fury reports. Director, I surveyed the scene and confirmed that this was not done by humans at all. There were nearly 3,000 people in the entire prison, but they were all killed overnight, and no one escaped. The first person who discovered this place was the postman who delivered the letter in the morning. He called the police when he saw the doorman died tragically in the duty room. Nick Fury pondered for a while after hearing this, feeling troubled by this situation. Aren't there any valuable clues? Nick Fury asked. Except for a few huge fist prints on the wall, there are no other clues. The surveillance has been destroyed long ago, and there are no witnesses. Just after finishing the conversation with Coulson, Nick Fury received a call from the top management of the United States before he could take a breath. The other party asked straight to the point, have you found out who the murderer of Nick Fury is? Nick Fury rolled his eyes, he really thought we were all Conan. My people have just conducted a detailed survey of the scene, and I believe there will be information sent back soon. Okay, this case is not simple. Nearly 3,000 people died in one fell swoop. This is a shame for the United States. Remember, this case cannot happen again. Mr. President ordered you to have a result within 3 days. After hanging up the phone, Nick Fury thumbed his nose at these politicians. He muttered to himself, haha, this kind of case can't happen again. The United States stopped that day. Putting these guys' warnings behind him, he secretly wondered who had the strength to commit such a major crime. New Mexico. In the abandoned factory, Rose and Abomination sat on the floor. The feast last night made their brains extremely excited. The two of them discussed their future plans in this simple environment. Now attacking the prison and killing criminals did not excite them. They wanted to make big news that would shock the world. We attack the government buildings in New York, or we attack the White House and kill the President of the United States. Hatred said excitedly. Ross shook his head and expressed his disapproval. The United States has many superheroes, and it is difficult for them to complete their actions smoothly. Moreover, they need to sacrifice a large number of souls to Mephisto in exchange for more powerful power. This will slowly kill. You have to wait until the year of the monkey and the year of the horse before you can continue to become stronger. The word nuclear bomb instantly appeared in Rose's mind. Yes, nuclear bombs can destroy cities and kill tens of millions of people, isn't it just for fun? Gia, I have an idea. Let's drop a nuclear bomb on the city. Ross said this terrorist plan in an understatement. During a nuclear explosion, a huge amount of energy is released in less than a second. The high temperature and high pressure gas generated by the explosion expands strongly in all directions. This hurricane-like pressure wave spreads through media such as air, water, and soil. Destroying everything it can touch, large numbers of people will be crushed or killed by collapsing buildings. The fireball during a nuclear explosion can make the surrounding air temperature reach hundreds of thousands of degrees. The light radiation emitted by the fireball will scorch and melt most objects, and the human body will be evaporated directly without leaving any traces. Abomination is very interested in this crazy plan, but the problem also arises. Nuclear bombs are not fireworks, they are the ultimate weapon in the hands of the government, and it is impossible to obtain them using conventional methods. Rose rubbed his chin and leaned against the wall, silently planning ways to possibly obtain a nuclear bomb. Ross looked solemn. If we want to get the nuclear bomb, we can only steal it. This is very risky, but as long as we get the nuclear bomb, we can force the United States to let us leave. Otherwise, everyone will die together. The top leaders of the United States will definitely not let us detonate the nuclear bomb. That way we'll be safe for now. Hatred sounds feasible, but where to drop the nuclear bomb is another problem. It is undoubtedly a dream to accomplish this with just 2 people. We need help, said Abomination. Don't worry, this matter still needs planning. Let's grab the Saint Fanganza contract first. Lord Mephisto will definitely send someone to help us when the time comes. After all, if the nuclear bomb goes off, it will be the death of millions of humans. Soul. The roar of motorcycles sounded, and Johnny was speeding on the road at night. He had just finished his performance for the day, and he was riding a motorcycle alone and came out to relax. Stopping by a lake, he took out a can of beer from his bag and looked at the lake at night, and couldn't help but think of his father. He has been blaming himself for these years. Although his father was killed by Mephisto, the reason was indeed that he and Mephisto signed the contract in a daze, otherwise his father might not have died. Because of the death of Johnny's father, his elopement plan with his girlfriend was completely ruined. Although he became famous due to his immortality, his hatred for Mephisto has not weakened at all. He raised his head and poured a can of beer into his stomach. The anesthesia brought by the alcohol made him forget the past for a short time. Gia, you are drinking alone here. If you have any troubles, why don't you tell us? Johnny looked back and was shocked. He saw a 4 to 5 meter tall green-skinned monster standing not far behind him. Next to him was a little old man with gray hair. No, although he looks like an old man with gray hair and a wrinkled face, his physique is very strong. Johnny crumpled the can into a ball, threw it at his feet, and looked at the 2 people of unknown origin calmly. Who are you? Ross laughed a few times and said, we don't mean any harm, we just want to ask you if you know where the Santa Fanganza contract is. Abomination carries a huge axe on his shoulder. This is his weapon. After transforming into Hellfire form, this axe is extremely powerful. In the previous prison massacre, this axe chopped the bodies of countless criminals. It doesn't matter if you don't know, I will open your head and eat your brains. The hatred was so arrogant. Johnny didn't panic at all. As the Ghost Rider, I usually look for fools like you, but I didn't expect you two to deliver the goods to your door yourself. Johnny transformed into the Ghost Rider, wearing a black leather suit and a flaming skull, staring at Abomination and Rose with empty eye sockets. Not to be outdone, Abomination transforms into Hellfire form, except Abomination has no clothes and both of them are flaming skeletons. Abomination held the giant axe in his hand. Under the enchantment of Hellfire, the axe was completely red, the axe handle was entangled with strange lines, and the axe blade was sharp and shimmering with silver light. Johnny pulled off the iron chain on his shoulder and held it in his hand. The iron chain seemed to turn into a living fire dragon. Abomination brandished his axe and ran towards Johnny, intending to split Johnny's skull with the axe. Johnny stood there, and the chain in his hand was thrown out with great force, hitting Abomination's face hard. The huge force knocked Abomination to the ground. But both possess Hellfire, and Johnny's attacks do almost no damage to the Abomination. Abomination climbed up from the ground and looked at Johnny fiercely with his empty eye sockets. He became angry. Abomination roared and threw the giant axe in his hand towards Johnny. Ross was not watching the show either. He outflanked Johnny from the side. The goal of the two of them today was to capture Johnny alive and then find out where the Santa Fanganza contract was hidden. Seeing the menacing attack from the 2 men, Johnny did not dare to take advantage of them. He tightened his grip on the chain in his hand and was ready for a tough fight. He lowered his body backwards, dodged the Abomination and threw it at the giant axe, and tried his best to pull his chain towards Rose. Seeing Johnny being slapped in the face by the chain, Ross quickly stretched out his hand to block it, but the chain attached to the Hellfire was so powerful that he, a rotten old man over 50 years old, was whipped away in an instant. Seeing how Ross deceived his teammates, he hated his old boss who insulted him mercilessly. What a waste. Johnny's throat burst into laughter, but the iron chain in his hand was not idle. He swung it towards Abomination again, where Abomination would be attacked again. More than 10 years of military career had allowed him to develop agility. Before the injection of medicine, his agility could even fool the Hulk. He grabbed the chain that Johnny had drawn and tugged hard, pulling Johnny to his side. The huge rounded fist hit Johnny hard on the side of the face. Johnny was sent flying by the punch and broke a big tree more than 10 meters away before he stopped. Johnny, who was crawling on the ground, was secretly shocked. Hate's strength was really too great. It seemed like this light punch could knock an elephant away. Abomination picked up the axe that fell on the ground and walked towards Johnny. The wound on Rose's face that was pulled out by the chain healed quickly, but a shocking scar was still left. Scars caused by hellfire will not disappear easily. The two gradually formed a siege. Although Abomination was extremely powerful, he and Johnny both possessed hellfire, so it was impossible to hurt each other. Therefore, Abomination still had to control Johnny with the advantage of strength, while Ross relied on his own corruption. The force made Johnny obey. Johnny got up again, knowing that he was no match for the two of them, and he did not intend to fight. His empty eye sockets flashed, looking for an opportunity to leave here and make plans for the future. Abomination held a giant axe in his hand and approached step by step. Ross stood beside Abomination, waiting for Abomination to give him a chance to get started. Gia Gia Gia, let's capture him without mercy. As long as you hand over the saint Fangan's contract, we will let you go. Hatred's rough voice made a very unpleasant sound. Johnny remained calm on the surface, but he was very confused in his heart. He had heard of the saint Fangan's contract before, but now that the contract was not in his hands, how did the other party find him? Seeing that Johnny didn't reply, Abomination thought that he didn't know how to lift up, so he took action decisively. He took a running start and swung the giant axe towards Johnny. Johnny raised his head and the axe blade was right in front of him. I can't escape, I have to take it hard. Johnny quickly wrapped the chain around his hand several times and waved his fist to shake the abominable giant axe. Poof! Johnny flew in response, crashing into the thick trees behind him, startling countless birds, and finally stopped when he hit a tree stump. Hatred looked at Johnny, who had been beaten 80 meters by him, and couldn't help but feel proud of himself. Hatred showed a cruel and bloodthirsty smile. In the dark night, this flaming skeleton, coupled with the smile, looked particularly scary. Johnny saw clearly the gap between himself and Abomination. It was not suitable to stay here for a long time, and retreat was the best plan now. Under Johnny's control, his motorcycle transformed into an evil chariot and rushed towards Johnny from the lake. When Ross and Abomination were stunned, he got on the motorcycle and ran away. Abomination roared angrily, and apparently the duck that reached his mouth flew away, which made him very angry. Paw! Hatred waved his hand and slapped Ross, pulling Ross out a few meters away. Ross, who broke a big tree, fell on his back. At this time, he felt that he was floating in the sky for 9 days, and could be shoulder to shoulder with the sun. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how do you explain that there is a circle of stars circling around you. Bah, you trash, why did you just destroy his motorcycle? Hateful and full of evil, the unfortunate Rose became his punching bag. But Ross was also feeling extremely aggrieved. It was okay for Johnny to beat me, since he was his opponent after all, but Abomination also beat me, and even harder than Johnny's. Banner's father-in-law was being beaten, and Coulson and the others were helpless. Pietro looked at Coulson's hairline. I muttered to myself, could this be the secret to transforming into a director? In the SHIELD temporary camp, Coulson was talking to Nick Fury remotely. The investigation was at a deadlock. There was no surveillance, no witnesses, and the purpose of the other party's crime was not yet clear. However, Coulson had an intuition that the other party was definitely not the one for pure killing, but for something else. Nick Fury is sitting in the office, tinkering with his high-end cigars as usual. Although he has a lot of worries, he doesn't have to worry about debts and lice. Nick Fury now really has the spirit of a dead pig who is not afraid of boiling water. After Coulson's report, Pietro stepped forward. He thought he had an opportunity to make a contribution, but now he didn't know who the enemy was. He might as well live happily in New York. Coulson, what should we do next? We can't just waste time here. Coulson also gave a wry smile. The location chosen by the other party to commit the crime this time was really unusual. He actually chose prison. I don't know, but this matter is taken seriously by the top management. If there is no result, it will be difficult for us to communicate. Ross, who was beaten up by Abomination, now corrects his attitude. Although he is still a general of the United States in name, he is nothing in the eyes of Abomination. Abomination asked, what should we do next? Should we continue to search for the Pact of St. Fanganza? Ross shook his head and said, we didn't succeed today. I'm afraid the other party will be wary. It's a bad idea to take action. If S.H.I.E.L.D. discovers us, we won't be able to escape even if we want to." After escaping, Johnny returned home in disgrace and lay on the bed tired. He knew that the St. Fanganza contract was something Mephisto had been thinking about, and he had to find it before those two guys. The next day, S.H.I.E.L.D. received news that the police were assisting in the investigation. Coulson led the team to the lake where they had fought last night. There were occasionally a few fishing enthusiasts here, but few people usually came. Looking at the mess all around, trees thicker than buckets fell in pieces, and many trees still had traces of flames. What surprised Coulson and others the most was that a fallen tree was extremely corroded. "It's serious, but the fractured section is new." Pietro walked around and returned to the original place. Except here, there was no trace of fighting anywhere else. Although Coulson was certain that the corroded trees and the criminals who corroded the prison were the work of the same person, a new question arose. What was the reason for last night's battle? Who else was involved? Coulson frowned and fell into deep thought. Although he discovered that the murderer had committed the crime again, he still didn't know who the murderer was, and whether the mysterious man who could fight the murderer was a superhero or another super criminal. With the new discovery, Coulson and others have motivation. This at least proves that the criminal who attacked the prison has not escaped yet, but may continue to commit crimes. Li Yan is at home, his wife and children are on the hotbed, and he is living a comfortable life. He drinks some high-end red wine, smokes a few wazi, and even makes monkeys. His life is infinitely close to perfection. Banner took the money from the capitalists and became a humble worker, working from 8 to 9 every day, but Tony was more energetic than him, which made him a little embarrassed to leave after work. Countless times, he muttered in his heart, "Where is this place?" The capitalists who came here were squeezing themselves, and they were even more involved than the employees. I was about to be involved to death. "Banner, let's take a rest." Tony brought 2 glasses of champagne and said to Banner. "Okay." Banner agreed, resting on his tools, and took Tony's champagne. Banner lowered his head and looked at his belly. "There is something good here, the food is really good." After several days of research, the two have finished writing the basic algorithm, but how to give it real life seems to be another problem. But the two had great differences on whether to give life to the robot. Banner did not recommend giving life to the robot, because once artificial intelligence has its own thoughts, it is no longer artificial intelligence but another person. Only life forms, current human ethics and morality, simply do not know how to get along with each other. Will we continue to be enslaved as before? Tony believed that humans would have to take that step sooner or later. Rather than leave it to others, it would be better for him and Banner to accomplish such a feat. "By the way, Tony, I have a favor to ask of you." Tony thought he knew Banner very well. He never asked for help easily. "Well, what can I do for you?" "My father-in-law, General Ross, has been missing for half a month. Now Betty is very worried. Although we have called the police and the military has sent people to look for him, there has been no news. I hope you can help me." Quote. When Tony heard this, he felt that this was a more urgent matter, and he quickly called Jarvis. "Jarvis, search for any information about Ross. In fact, Banner doesn't care about Ross's life or death at all, but Ross is Betty's father after all, and he still needs to be found." Abomination and Rose took advantage of the dark night to come out of the dilapidated factory where they were hiding again. Today they received help from Mephisto, and they were also given a death order by Mephisto to find the St. Fanganza contract. This time Mephisto sent his son, the Witch Heart Demon, as well as the Water Demon, Earth Demon, and Wind Demon to the human world to help Abomination and Rose obtain the St. Fanganza contract and implement the plan to drop nuclear bombs on the city. What Mephisto doesn't know is that his son is always ready to betray him. The witch's heart is pale, bloodthirsty and brutal. He has always wanted to kill his father and replace him, so that he can become the filial son of Marvel after Star-Lord. Now they have formed a team of 6, and their strength has greatly increased. Johnny alone cannot be their opponent, but Johnny has always been alone and does not know other superpowers at all. Now except himself, Johnny has no one rely on. Johnny, who was in a restless mood, came to the cemetery to pay homage to his father. At the same time, in the clean cemetery, he could also talk to his father about his depression. After talking, Johnny placed a bouquet of flowers in front of his father's tombstone and turned to leave. At this time, the administrator of the cemetery, a very kind-looking old man, stopped him. "Young man, if you have any trouble, you can talk to me, an old man. Maybe I can give you some good advice." Johnny shook his head. He was afraid that after he finished speaking, the uncle would treat him as a lunatic. The old man in the cemetery saw that he was wary and comforted him again. "Do what you have to do and the fire of hell will burn away all the filth. Come with me, boy, I have something for you." Johnny was very surprised when he heard this. He was sure that he did not know this old man and had no interaction with him. How could the other party know his identity? "Young man, I know you have a lot of doubts. I was once a ghost rider just like you. Over the years, I have been guarding the Saint Fangan's contract in obscurity. Now that my mission is completed, remember not to let the contract fall into the hands of the devil." Johnny held a scroll in his hand and felt an unprecedented responsibility. In the middle of the night, Wu Shinmo and others found Johnny again. This time 6 of them went out at the same time, and Johnny was in their pocket. Although there are many people, the demons never talk about martial ethics, and they plan to make a sneak attack late at night. Now that the time has come, Ross held the door handle of Johnny's house. After a while, the door handle was corroded into a pile of rust, and several people quietly opened the door of Johnny's house. Due to the large size of Abomination, he was responsible for blocking Johnny's escape route outside, while the Witch-Heart Devils and others fought head-on with Johnny inside the house. Hatred outside the house saw Johnny's motorcycle parked aside. His anger instantly rose to the top of his head. Hatred didn't care about Sanchi 21. He picked up the motorcycle with one hand and smashed it against the far wall, saying, "Let's see how you run now." Bang! The motorcycle hit the wall and made a violent noise. The loud noise woke Johnny up and the Witch-Heart Demon and others were also startled. "Holy shit, what's that big green guy doing?" Johnny looked at the guys who had sneaked into his house and thought something bad was wrong. He quickly got up, transformed into the Ghost Rider, and fought with the 5 people. The hellfire on Johnny was the nemesis of the 4 demons, but the Wind Demon, Earth Demon, and Water Demon all had their own abilities. Biro's was a waste. I know how much stronger it is. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. After resisting for a while, Johnny felt very tired. He jumped out of the window and planned to summon his motorcycle to run away, but after summoning for a long time, there was no response. Then he thought of what he had just done. Loud noise. Without giving him time to think, the people from the Witch-Heart Devil quickly chased after him, and now the 6 of them worked together to surround Johnny. As soon as a few people surrounded Johnny, a large number of police cars rushed to the scene. The appearance of Abomination and Johnny shocked the police. Unlucky, what a ghost. A large number of policemen were holding pistols and hiding behind police cars, and they did not dare to act rashly for a while. After receiving the news, Coulson quickly contacted Pietro and asked him to rush to the scene to stabilize the situation. He and the main force would be there soon. Pietro got dressed in less than a second and arrived at the scene in less than a second. As soon as he arrived at the scene, Pietro was also very surprised. There were actually 2 skeletons who could play with fire. He relied on his speed to come nearby. After careful observation, he saw a familiar face. Rose. Pietro was a little confused. Now he had no idea which side of the 2 groups was good and which was bad. Based on the principle of preferring to kill by mistake, he quickly rushed forward, planning to kill these 7 people first. This guy got it. Pietro's speed was strengthened once by Li Yan, reaching 1,000th of the speed of light, far exceeding the previous speed of sound. He moved at high speed, and everyone at the scene was almost at a standstill. In everyone's eyes, a blue light flashed, and Pietro appeared behind General Ross. Pietro thought to himself that no matter how he looked at it, this guy was the weakest among them. Yes, Pietro likes to pick weak targets. Using his extreme speed, he punched Rose in the back of the head. In Pietro's eyes, Rose, who was almost stationary, was slowly flying forward due to the external force. He subconsciously turned back, his mouth gradually opened wide, and his eyes were slightly frightened. Before Rose landed, Pietro ran behind Wu Shinmo again and kicked Wu Shinmo on the back. Wu Shinmo stumbled forward and almost fell to the ground. Ross threw himself into Johnny's arms with a confused look on his face. Not to mention everyone else, Johnny was surprised after being surprised. He grabbed Ross's neck collar with one hand and planned to use his ultimate move, Eye of Judgment, on Ross. Johnny's skull let out a quacking laugh and wanted to finish off Ross, the fool, first, but the wind demon under the witch heart demon saw that the situation was not good, and quickly sent out a strong wind, knocking Johnny to the ground, and Ross he also escaped. Although they have not seen Pietro's true face, they are not idiots. They naturally know that someone is deliberately causing trouble. The devil's face is ashen and he was kicked. If he doesn't take revenge, how can he be the big brother in the future? And that the younger brother is willing to follow him. For the sake of his own face, the relationship is settled today. Feng Mo flew into the sky, and he saw the afterimage of Pietro running at high speed. He shouted, "There is an enemy, and he is a very fast guy." Rose and Abomination's pupils shrank, and they realized that this was S.H.I.E.L.D.'s intervention. After all, in the previous battle in New York, Pietro performed well with his amazing speed, and he was a member of the Avengers. The two of them all paid special attention to. Rose's secret channel is not good. Now they must withdraw quickly. If Pietro appears here, it is difficult to guarantee that other Avengers will not appear. Ross shouted, "Retreat quickly, the S.H.I.E.L.D. people are coming." Hatred instantly understood what Rose meant. Although they were unwilling to do so, they were not planning to fight the Avengers yet. Wu Shinmo and the others looked confused. Why is their father so bad at judging people? First they chose Johnny, but in the end they didn't like him. This time they chose two cowards. This selection skill is really hard to describe. Wu Shinmo does not believe in evil. As an aspiring young man who inspired to kill his father, he never sheds tears until he sees the coffin, and never looks back until he hits the wall. He is a young devil full of gen. He ordered the water demon to create a puddle of water and lurk on the road where Pietro passed. The earth demon and him were waiting for the opportunity to move. Today, he, the inner demon, will take revenge for this kick. Pietro used his unparalleled speed to often completely defeat the enemy, which also made him often careless when fighting with others. The two successful sneak attacks today made him let down his guard. Although he may not be able to successful 7 kills, but harassment, keeping the enemy under control is not a problem here. Pietro approached the witch heart demon and the others again, but this time he was ambushed by the water demon. Although he looked at the water demon standing there stupidly, what Pietro didn't notice was that there was an extra layer of water on the ground than before. This layer of water as thin as paper was the trap created by the water demon using his own abilities. When Pietro stepped on this layer of water again, he suddenly lost his balance. The water demon took the opportunity to activate his power and tripped Pietro's feet. The earth demon and the evil heart demon also rushed to Pietro's side. But Johnny was not a vegetarian. He waved the iron chain in his hand, and the iron chain flew around the waist of the earth demon. As the earth demon roared, Johnny pulled the iron chain hard, and the fire of hell began. Burn the earth demon to ashes. Regardless of the earth demon's death, the witch heart demon quickly stepped forward and joined forces with the water demon to hold Pietro down. Without giving Pietro the slightest chance to resist, the witch heart demon put his palms on Pietro's body, trying to suck him dry, blood to avenge a kick. But Pilot is lucky. He has been wearing the soft armor he made last time in Nidawi. Although this layer of software has limited defense, it can cover the whole body like a thin film, which can just resist the blood-sucking ability of the witch heart demon. Pietro chuckled. The armor, which he usually thought was useless, actually made a great contribution today. Pietro said with a serious face, "I advise you, it is best to tidy up my clothes, clean my shoes, kowtow politely, apologize, and admit my mistake. I may be happy when I am happy. Spare the lives of some of you, otherwise my brother-in-law will not let you go." Ha ha ha. Several demons laughed at his expression. Although they did not break through his armor for the time being, they were very contemptuous of the guy who went out to announce his brother-in-law's name. Who do you think you are? Do you think you are a remnant of the Manchu Qing dynasty with the heavenly pattern? The witch heart demon mocked. Hey, you are so awesome, who is your brother-in-law? Tell me and let me see. Pietro was not stupid, he was stalling for time. Logically speaking, Coulson should be arriving soon. Pietro replied. Go home and ask your father. Grandpa has no obligation to tell you. Well, you're on the verge of death, and you're still being stubborn. You kicked me just now, right? Don't worry, it's very painful when I suck blood. The witch heart demon said coldly. Seeing Pietro fall into the hands of the devil, Johnny swung the chain to attack again, and Abomination directly blocked him. As long as they caught Pietro, it would be much easier for them to escape. Ross saw that Pietro had armor on him, and he quickly stepped forward to show off, placing his palm on Pietro's chest, and activated the corrosive power, which began to erode Pietro's armor. The armor was very thin, and the materials made of it were not very precious. After a while, a hole was corroded by Rose. The witch heart demon pointed his finger at the hole, intending to drain Pietro's blood. The moment the Wu Shin Mo's fingers touched Pietro, Pietro felt as if a powerful pump had been pressed on his body, and all his strength was sucked away. At this moment, he really felt like his body was being hollowed out. Johnny noticed that Pietro's condition was not good, and he instantly got rid of the entanglement of hatred. He swung out the iron chain and hit the devil's arm. The devil's arm hurt and he quickly let go. In this way, Johnny was barely saved. Pietro died. Rose heard the buzzing of a helicopter overhead and quickly told Abomination to run away. Abomination was unambiguous and ran faster than a rabbit. The witch heart demon was still a little unwilling, but he had no choice but to withdraw from these two cowards. He and the others couldn't resist here. It was a bad start. One of the generals died and he didn't get anything. The wind demon whipped up a gust of wind in the direction of Johnny, and countless sand and stones flew up, making it difficult for those who were blown to open their eyes. Hatred, they were completely prepared this time. In order to have a better retreat after catching Johnny, he specially got a pickup truck. Ross ran into the driver's seat, and the witch heart demon and the water demon got into the passenger and back seats. Abomination jumped onto the back slot of the pickup truck. Due to Abomination's size, the pickup truck obviously couldn't drive fast, but Feng Mo could use his ability to accelerate the pickup truck at the rear of the pickup truck. As for why they didn't use Hellfire to enchant the pickup truck, we have to ask whether the witch heart demon and his three subordinates were afraid of death. Several people fled in a hurry, leaving only Pietro and Johnny at the scene, but Johnny, whose head was on fire, obviously didn't look so easy to get along with. The injured Pietro forced himself to say hello to Johnny and thanked him for saving his life. Hey, I'm Pietro, an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and a member of the Avengers. Thank you for saving my life. May I have your name? Seeing Pietro fall to the ground, Coulson got off the plane and quickly came to Pietro's side. Oh, okay, still angry. After confirming that Pietro was not dead, Coulson finally felt relieved. How are you feeling, Pietro? Johnny said. He was sucked a lot of blood by the devil. It's lucky that he didn't die. Pietro, I'm fine. I just feel a little weak. I can hold on. After Pietro was put on a plane and sent back to New York for treatment, Coulson could only handle the rest. Looking at the flaming skeleton in front of him, Coulson's heart was about to move. As the ceiling of human diplomacy, Coulson can be said to be well deserved. Whether he is a human or not, he can be easily dealt with. Arriving opposite Johnny, Coulson straightened his tie and, like Pietro, said hello to Johnny first. Hello, I am an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. My name is Coulson. I don't know what you call me. Don't worry, we don't mean any harm. Johnny had some impressions of Pietro who came to help him. After all, he also knew a thing or two about the Avengers. Just call me Johnny. This is not the place to talk. Come with me. Coulson ordered the remaining S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to clear the area and drive away the irrelevant people. He would handle the aftermath personally. The two walked into the house. Johnny's house was in chaos after several people fought. The furniture, electrical appliances, and even the floors and walls in the house were damaged to varying degrees. Johnny turned back into an ordinary person and replaced the sofa. Set up and sat down with Coulson. Johnny was the first to ask, "Can I trust you?" Of course, our S.H.I.E.L.D. handles supernatural events, and the Avengers was founded by our director, Mr. Nick Fury. Of course you can trust me. Well, first of all, let me explain that I don't know who that group of people is. One of the old men and the huge flaming skull have attacked me once before, but this time the four guys who came with them, they are all demons from hell. I can tell the aura on their bodies, Johnny said. The doubts in Coulson's heart only increased. He asked doubtfully, what is their purpose of targeting you? Street Fanganza Covenant design. What is that? Coulson asked. An extremely evil thing is the devil's favorite thing. I am responsible for guarding it to prevent it from falling into the hands of the devil. Then you can hand it over to our shield for safekeeping. Of course, this is voluntary and we will not force it. I just think our shield's defense system is still very reliable. Johnny thought for a while and shook his head. He still chose to keep it in his own hands. This was what reassured him the most. Ross drove the car, and the wind demon kept firing huge winds at the helicopter behind him, and then he barely got rid of the tracking helicopter. Several people touched the sweat on their foreheads. Although they escaped, now they have no idea how to explain to Mephisto. Abomination. What should we do next? Are we still going to steal the saint? Fanganza contract. Although Rose's strength is low, he still has a good overall view. He knows that what awaits them when they go back will be a dragon's pool and a tiger's den. However, with helpers, they failed to snatch the saint. Fanganza contract again, which really left them with no way to fight with Morpheus. Entrusted to explain. Rose's eyes flashed, and he soon had an idea. Didn't Mephisto just want the soul? Then give him his soul. Pietro was flown back to New York by helicopter overnight for treatment. He had been sucked a lot of blood by the witch heart demon, and even though his physical fitness was far beyond that of ordinary people, he was still very weak. When Nick Fury saw that Pietro was injured, his heart skipped a beat. Fortunately, it was nothing serious, otherwise the guy behind Pietro would definitely not let it go. Pietro, are you okay? Nick Fury asked with concern. Director, since you're here, I'm a little weak, but it's nothing serious. That's good, you're fine. Do you see clearly who the enemy is? Nick Fury asked. When Nick Fury asked, Pietro remembered that Rose was among the 6 people. He hadn't told Coulson about this news yet. Ross, the only one I know is Ross. There is a tall flaming skeleton next to him. The other 4 people don't have any obvious features. Ross drove the car, led by Hatred and others, and drove towards the seaside in the dark night. The witch's heart demon sat in the passenger seat with his eyes closed, and the other 2 demons were also silent. Although Ross was calm on the surface, in his heart he was formulating a plan to destroy humanity. Ross knew that there was a U.S. nuclear submarine base in a mountain near the coast. There were several nuclear submarines there, several of which were equipped with nuclear warheads, but Ross knew that submarines equipped with nuclear warheads were always in cruise mode. Several submarines took turns for rest and maintenance, and one was always on standby at the base. This was the purpose of Ross's trip. When the news that Pietro was injured again reached Leanne's family, Leanne was already used to it. The guy was a good guy and loved to play. Who could blame him? Wanda came to S.H.I.E.L.D. and saw Pietro who was getting an injection. Although she was a little worried, she didn't show any extreme behavior. Are you okay? After all, there is a deep love between brother and sister. The person Wanda may miss the most is Pietro, and Leanne comes second. After all, this unreliable brother is her only relative. Pietro smiled at Wanda. Don't worry, brother and we were just careless and fell into an ambush by the enemy. They are definitely no match for me in a head-on confrontation. As the saying goes, it's easy to hide from open guns and hard to defend against hidden arrows. Pietro tried his best to explain that this time it was again accident. Leanne waved his hand, and the power of the horse charm was activated, and Pietro recovered instantly. Oh, thank you dear brother-in-law. Don't you know, I mentioned your name to those demons, but what do you think they said? Oh, what did they say? They said, what kind of trash is Leanne, you know? I couldn't listen at that time. It was okay to beat Pietro, but you couldn't insult my brother-in-law, so I covered my head, stuck out my butt and fought with them hand to hand. Quote. Leanne looked at Pietro and asked, did they really say that? Nick Fury hurried to the side. Of course, Coulson heard it. Although Leanne knew that Pietro wanted to help him regain his position, wasn't this equivalent to doing S.H.I.E.L.D. a favor? After a night of running, Ross and the others finally arrived at the door of the secret base. This is it. There are at least 10 nuclear warheads here. We can easily kill 300 million people and let Lord Mephisto get their souls. Ross said enthusiastically. Although the place is heavily guarded, water demons and wind demons can transform into disembodied elements. The two sneaked into it and killed all the people inside in a short time without triggering any alarms. With a squeak sound, the steel door was opened from the inside, and the three Ross walked in. Soon, Ross found the submarine loaded with nuclear bombs. "This is it?" Abomination asked. "Where should we drop the bomb? New York, or Washington?" No, Ross quickly stopped him. His daughter was still in New York. It was impossible for him to drop a nuclear bomb on New York, but Washington definitely had defense capabilities, and there was a high probability that the nuclear bomb would be intercepted. "Then where should we put it?" Wu Shinmo asked. "I know a place that likes nuclear bombs very much. 2 nuclear bombs once fell on their land, but they were not satisfied. Instead, they blamed the enemy for giving too little. Over the years, they have built monuments to the nuclear bombs. Their usual the drink is nuclear wastewater. You can imagine how happy the other side would be if we dropped 10 nuclear bombs at once. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more."